Find me down in the meadow, under trees born hollow. Water glows in the shallows, with the light we borrow.
Make sure we're on here. There we go. Hey, everybody. I'll say it again. Welcome to Carl's Late Night Live call-in show. And happy to see everybody down there. I see Great Dirtbag, Pro-Life, Crazy Chick Sheena, Duke Rawl. I see Deanna Marie. Good seeing you guys. And thanks for staying up late with us tonight. I know a lot of you guys are Central Standard Time, East Coast Time. I know it's kind of late for you guys back there. And it's a live call-in. Our phone lines are, in fact, open. 775-273-8970. We see the headline story there. Buttigieg suggests pro-life Christians rethink abortion. Consider life to begin at first breath. And we actually have the video from the interview, and we're going to go in and show that here in a second. But he seemed to think like because, there's a passage in the Bible, it's from... Genesis, where God is making Adam and he builds him up out of mud and stuff, and then he breathes breath into him and he becomes alive, becomes Adam, becomes a human being. Well, that's nice, but we're not created like that. We're born, we come out of a woman's womb, and there's plenty of sayings from Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee, blessed art thou amongst women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. We learned that in school when we were kids. Those of you who went to Catholic school or Christian school or learned it in church. And I believe, let's see, what is Mr. Buttigieg? I think his religion is, if I'm not mistaken, let me take a look here. I'll tell you right now what he is. Let's see. Where is he? Let's see. He's an Episcopalian. That's what Mr. Buttigieg is, and they don't pray to Mary, unlike Catholics do. But they actually, one of the things they have in common with Catholics, they actually do say that prayer, so he knows it and he knows better. But it's funny, like a lot of people in the South during pre-Civil War days, found a passage in the Bible where Jesus says, slave, go to thy master, make it sound like he was endorsing slavery. Well, he wasn't, but the people in the South used it for that reason. Also, hey, Mr. Dirtbag. But, people using the South found a passage, and then he finds one passage from Genesis, which, of course, we're not created like that. We don't come from the ground. We weren't, not the only first man was Adam. I mean, after that, we're all somebody else. Okay. So anyway, let's take a look at the video here. And we'll go ahead and play that. Let me get that up here. And where are we here? Okay. And let's see. And where is he? There he is.
Republican Party dedicated to its opposite, there will be a reckoning over that. Now, right now, they hold everybody in line with this one kind of piece of doctrine about abortion, right? Which is obviously a tough issue for a lot of people to think through morally. Then again, there's a lot of parts of the Bible that talk about how life begins with breath. And so even that is something that we can interpret differently. And
I'm pro-choice.
Take up. Me too.
Yeah.
But I think no matter where you think about the kind of cosmic question of how life begins, most Americans can get on the board with the idea of, all right, I might draw the line here, you might draw the line there, but the most important thing is the person who should be drawing the line is the woman making the decision.
Absolutely. And I think that if you're a man who's against abortion, you haven't gotten the wrong woman pregnant. Like
I mean,
your wife. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, we've had some slip-ups.
And
I've had a few.
look, in the same way we've talked about the way that, the white world needs to deal with race, instead of saying that this is just an issue of minorities. Men are going to have to deal with misogyny and women's rights. Like, this is largely a men problem. And so men have to talk about this. Since when should men be dictating what women ought to be able to do? Anyway, my point is, when it comes to the religious stuff...
Old white men are doing that, by the way. I just want to throw that back out there.
Okay, well, yeah, you're not wrong. But coming back to the religion thing, somehow they put a party label on God. And I don't think God belongs to a political party. And whether you're religious or not, you have a choice. And we got to change the way that we think about what it means to talk to voters of faith without...
And there you have it from him. And he's like I saw in the chat there, I like Deanna Marie, he's so not impressive. You know what? You're right. He is so not impressive. Oh yeah, no, he always has to go back to that. Yeah, Deanna, he always has to go back to the race card because, well, he's under a lot of heat in the South Bend. I mean, he didn't play that thing very well at all. Back there in South Bend, he's under a lot of heat. He's doing awful in South Carolina. He's doing awful among black voters. I think he's at 0%. Hey, D.A. Archer, good seeing you there. But yeah, he's at 0%, and he's not doing good at all. But yeah, that's his little position there. But I pulled up some stuff, and let's go and get to it here. Let's see. So where are we? Stop capture. Let's see, where are we going with this? Oh, wrong place. Hold on. All right, let me get back over here. And let's see. So anyway, let's talk about this issue here on abortion. Let's get to it. So here's a nice little article here. It's from PJ Media. Buttigieg on abortion. Bible says, Bible says life begins with breath. So let's see how this rolls out here. Let me pull this up a little larger for you guys. You can see it actually. All right. So Buttigieg on abortion. Life begins with breath. All right. So in an interview with Charlemagne, yeah, good seeing you there, Mr. D.A. Archer, good seeing you down there. But okay, let's see. Interview with Charlemagne the God on the Breakfast Club Friday. Pete Buttigieg, mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and a presidential candidate, argued that Christians can support abortion because the Bible says life begins with breath. There's a lot of parts of the Bible that talk about how life begins with breath, Buttigieg said. He was criticizing how conservatives hold everybody in line with this one kind of piece of doctrine about abortion. And so, citing parts of the Bible that talk about how life begins with breath, Buttigieg said, even that is something that we can interpret differently. No, everything is not like some kind of, feel-good kind of thing. Well, I can look at it like this, you can look at it like this, and maybe we'll meet in the middle. So instead of, okay, he wants to kill babies at 9 months and 1 day, and we say we don't want to kill him. He goes, well, okay, we'll split the baby, literally split the difference, say about 4.5 months. Well, no, that's not how it works. But anyway. So Mayor Pete's interpretation echoed a wacky and wrong-headed pro-abortion argument that focuses on Adam's creation in Genesis to the exclusion of the rest of the Bible's testimony on life in the womb. Pro-abortion advocates have cited Genesis 2:7, which says, "Then the Lord God formed the man of dust from the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living creature." This verse is only about Adam. However, it does not mean that in the case of normal human conception, pregnancy, and birth life only begins when the baby takes his or her first breath. In fact, such a view would contradict the many Bible passages suggesting life begins well before birth. in the witness of early church history that Christians have always opposed abortion. While Genesis 2:7 suggests Adam did not become a living thing until God breathed into him, many Bible passages clearly touch that unborn babies have personality and dignity in the womb. Now, whether you believe in God or not, it's not. This is an argument that whether you believe in God, this is an argument that Mayor Pete Buttigieg is just trying to bastardize the Bible, for his own political gain. He's just trying to find one passage to use it and say, okay, look, I'm a man of faith. He's been preaching on and on since he has been running for office. He thinks he can try to get the Midwestern Bible Belt. Well, he's not going to get it like this. I mean, if this is his master plan, his grand strategy, I mean, he's going to go down pretty fast. I mean, he's getting money. I mean, look. He's getting a lot of support from the gay community. Gay people have a lot of disposable income. It's a stereotype, but it's not a bad one, so they should like it. But anyway, they have a lot of disposable income. They generally don't have children. Generally have two people in the house working, making good money. They have a lot of money to donate to people like Mayor Pete. And obviously, they don't want him to get embarrassed. They want him to get humiliated. They probably know he has no chance of winning, but they still want to make a good show of it. Okay, I get it. No problem. But anyway, hey, it's Lynn. How you doing? Good seeing you there. So I get it there. Okay, so anyway... see. So while Genesis 2:7 suggests Adam did not become a living thing until God breathed into him, many Bible passages clearly teach that unborn babies have personality and dignity in the womb. A prayer of praise to God, which is Psalm 139:13 through 16, reads, "For you formed my inward parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was being made in secret, intricately woven in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed substance. In your book were written, every one of them, the days that were formed for me, when as yet there was none of them." When God calls the prophet Jeremiah, he says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. I appointed you a prophet to the nations." Job 31:15 refers to God making people in the womb, and in Psalm 22:10, King David writes, "From my mother's womb you have been my God." The Gospel of Luke even refers to an unborn Jesus Christ as Lord. It recounts John the Baptist leaping while in his mother's womb, that's when Elizabeth came close to Mary, blah, blah, blah. And when Elizabeth heard the greeting of Mary, the baby leaped in her womb, and Elizabeth was filled with the Holy Spirit, and she exclaimed with a loud cry, "Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And why is this granted to me that the mother of my Lord should come to me?" In his letter to the Galatians, penned in approximately 55 AD, St. Paul issued a catalog of sins, Galatians 5:20. Now, this is kind of interpreting some ancient language here, so you got to follow it a little bit. Among other sins, he condemned pharmakia, the making and administering of potions, which those potions generally, the common use of these potions back in the Greco-Roman days was to give to women so that it would induce them to, have an abortion. It would induce them to go into labor early, and the baby would come out dead, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, among other sins, he condemned pharmakia, the making and administering of potions. In Revelation 21:8, St. John the Evangelist condemned sexual immorality, and then he immediately went on to condemn pharmakos, I don't know how to pronounce it, the plural form of the same word Paul used in Galatians 5:20. While the word is often translated as sorcery or witchcraft, Alvin Schmidt, in his book How Christianity Changed the World, noted that it is quite likely that when Paul used the word pharmakia in Galatians, he meant the practice of abortion because administering medicinal potions was a common way of inducing abortions among the Greco-Romans. Now, for those people, this kind of ties into another argument. A lot of people say, well, gee, the Founding Fathers didn't say abortion should be a right because they really didn't know about abortions. Well, that's nonsense because back when I was in college, a gazillion years ago, people were writing about abortions in the early 1800s and how to get abortions. Early 1800s in literature. I mean, it was written down. There was no, telephone, okay? We weren't talking on the phone or on radio. It was actually in writing. Further, as you can see from here, one nice thing about this, the text of this, is that it's telling you that back in Greco-Roman days, 2,000 years ago, women were getting abortions. Okay, not something brand new. So at the time of the writing of the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence and the Bill of Rights, which the first 10 amendments of the Constitution, the Founding Fathers knew all about abortion and about women having them. So some of the Supreme Court in Roe versus Wade read into the intent of the founders to create a right of privacy, which led, of course, to the Griswold decision, which, of course, led to the Roe decision, saying a right of privacy leads to, the right to have an abortion, or the right to a woman to control her own body, even though there's a baby inside, a live baby, okay? There's somebody living in there, but it's not like the old saying is, I don't care about your body, I just care about the body that's inside your body, okay? Your body, whatever, the body that's inside your body. So anyway, the pagan Plutarch used the word pharmakia, so meaning that if the founders wanted to put it in there as a right, they could have. They didn't. It's not there. Basically, when you read Griswold, and Roe doesn't touch on it as much as Griswold does, they say basically if you take the Bill of Rights, you had 1 plus 2, First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third Amendment, fourth, fifth, eighth, equals privacy, right to privacy. I mean, they just made this shit up. I mean, it was one of the worst written decisions ever. People say, oh, you can overturn Roe. Well, forget whether you're pro-abortion or anti-abortion. I mean, Roe should be overturned because it was one of the worst written decisions ever. I mean, it was just a conclusion in search of facts and law to try to get there. And they couldn't even find the law, so they just made stuff up. They say, well, if you add all these Bill of Rights together, it adds up to a right to privacy. I mean, it was like, wow. I mean, that's like that's more than a leap of faith. I mean, anybody who reads case law for a living, which I do, it's just one of the worst written cases ever. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, it's just awful. But anyway, back to the story here. So the pagan Plutarch used the word pharmakia to refer to contraception and abortion potions. In the early Christian documents, the Didache, or teachings of the 12 apostles, written between 85 and 110 A.D., argues that abortion is forbidden. Using the words, o pharmaceusis, you shall not use potions, immediately followed by o pharmaceusis, takan, and plethora. This is why I don't even speak Spanish, okay? But anyway, you shall not kill a child by abortion. This is written back between 85 and 110 A.D. So, I mean, Mayor Pete needs to go back and do a little more reading. It's like I liked pro-life's comment. Before you start quoting the Bible, you might want to really have read it first. Don't just find a passage you read on some blog site from some pro-abortion outfit that says, oh, look at this passage, from Genesis. Oh, okay, we'll use that. Well, no, you got to kind of read the whole book. There's a lot of context there. But anyway, so argues that abortion. Okay, so anyway, other early Christians, including Clement of Alexandria, Minucius, Felix, Bishop Ambrose, and St. Jerome, mentioned and condemned the common practice of women using potions to commit abortion. Even if the word pharmakia in Galatians and Revelation does not refer to abortion, early Christians almost unanimously condemned the practice. Perhaps one of the clearest statements came from Tertullian, a North African church father who died around 220 A.D. This is all the early days of Christianity. In his apology, Tertullian wrote, "We may not destroy even the fetus in the womb," and added, "Nor does it matter whether you take away the life that is born or destroy the one that is coming to birth." These are early Christians. Okay, I mean, hey, look, everybody, there it is. And then Athenagoras, a Christian philosopher writing to the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius around 177 A.D., defended his fellow Christians against a charge of cannibalism, a Roman misunderstanding of the Christian beliefs that believers receive the body and blood of Christ in the Lord's Supper. What reason would we have to commit murder when we say that women who induce abortions are murderesses? And Athenagoras asked. So within that context, the Romans thought when they heard Christians were taking the body and blood of Christ, that, oh, these guys are cannibals. They really thought that. You guys are nuts. No, we're not. It's symbolic. It's what? It's symbolic. We're not really, So he wrote to him. This is written down, obviously. It's in text. This is history, 177 A.D. He writes to the emperor saying, hey, what reason would we have to commit murder when we say women who induce abortions are murderesses? He's trying to prove to him we're not cannibals by saying, look, we condemn abortion. So obviously this conversation was going on 2,000 years ago. And Christians were, the early Christian teachings were to be against abortion. So for this, person, Mayor Buttigieg, to come forward now and say that it's okay, well, no, it's not, And again, see what that religion is again? I always forget. It just doesn't stick in my mind. Episcopalian. For some reason, I keep wanting to forget that. So, I mean, I don't know what Bible the Episcopalians read from, but I guess they missed a few passages there. The thing is, like, if you start like at Genesis, read a passage, and then go all the way to Revelation and read the last line, you kind of miss a lot. You kind of don't want to do that. So, in contrast to ancient Roman society, Christians opposed abortion, infanticide, and child abandonment. Early Christians would rescue the children of pagans who had been left in the woods to die. So even if Buttigieg's argument about breath had merit in the Bible, it would contradict the witness of modern science. From the moment of conception, unborn babies have a complete set of human DNA. From the moment of conception, complete set of human DNA, making them genetically unique individuals. Indeed, a recent study showed that 95% of biologists say life begins at conception, and most Americans think biologists should make this determination. Buttigieg is far outside the mainstream of biblical Christianity on this point. His position has no biblical support, and it is contradicted by the actual history of the early church. Mayor Pete is welcome to his own opinion, but that does not make it true. If he wants to convince Christians to be open to abortion, he'll have to do better than this. Damn right. Damn Skippy. And then just to kind of seal the deal here on this, let me just air, in case there was any doubt, and again, Episcopalians say this prayer. All right, so here he is. This is the prayer Catholics and Episcopalians say also. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God. Now, the only thing Episcopalians really don't do is say, pray for us sinners. They don't pray to Mary. Then they will ask Mary to pray for them. So in a way, they might do that, but they kind of leave that part out. Now at the hour of death. Amen. There you go. So let's see here. All right. So we'll get to this next story here with Mr. Beto O'Rourke, who, he's a real winner guy. Anyway, Beto wants to do a mandatory buyback, and Tucker made a good point, and we've all made this point before. It's not really a buyback because I didn't buy any of my guns from the government. So they're not really, I didn't buy them from them, so they're not buying them back. This is just a way to say confiscation, theft, whatever you want to call it. It's nothing short of just taking your firearms. And like right today, look, this whole slippery slope argument. I'll be honest, even 30 years ago when the NRA would say slippery slope, all of us would always kind of go, yeah, well, okay, wink and a nod. But it's true. It's that slippery slope argument is true because you give them a little bit here, they want more. It's true, they do it. You give them a little bit here, they want more. You give a little more here, and they keep trying to take more and more and more. So now it went from gun safety to we should maybe deter people from buying these, or now it's like we should ban them or not sell them. Now it's like we're gonna come get them. And then he was asked, and he tried walking it back a little bit today. The Washington Examiner covered this. He tried walking it back. And he goes, well, so are you going to have cops come to people's doors and take their firearms? And no, I don't envision that. So the reporter pressed him and said, well, how are you going to enforce the law? He goes, well, enforcement, there's all kinds of ways to enforce laws. Most people just voluntarily obey it. Well, that's not true, he goes, and that's kind of up to Congress then to talk to the constituents and see how best to protect their Second Amendment rights and get the guns away. But you see in this video I'm going to show you here, he's not talking about, and he's all wound up. Look, Kamala Harris already said in California they were going door to door to take people's guns away from them if they weren't supposed to have them, like they were convicted of domestic battery or whatever the case may be, or they had a restraining order. She laughed about it. She thought it was a great idea going door to door to grab these, knock on the door, bang on the door, grab these people's guns. And so he goes, well, I don't envision that. Well, of course he does. Of course he does. You have this mandatory buyback. You have to turn your weapon in, and people don't turn it in. They have a record of who has them and how many and where they are. They're coming knocking on your door. What are they going to knock on your door? Hey, do you have any guns? No. Okay, bye. No, hey, we know you got guns. We're coming in. Here's our warrant. We're coming to get your guns. And if you don't answer the door, they'll bash it in. And that's how it's going to be. And for him to try to duck it is, it's real wimpy on his part. Just say it. Say, yeah, we're going to be sending the cops out to get your guns. And the American people are behind me on this, so I can say it out loud. Instead, he knows a lot of Americans are kind of like, whoa, wait a second. You didn't say anything about cops banging on my neighbor's door and taking their guns away. I don't want people getting shot up in Walmart, but wait a second. I may not own a gun, but I know my neighbor Fred, and he's a nice guy. There's no reason to have to bang on his door. Well, they're going to be banging on all our doors. If these guys get their way. So let me pull up this video here. Let's see. Let's get to it. Where are we? We're Mr. Beto here. Here we go. All right. No, let's do that. Yeah, that's Beto. Okay. All right.
That we not only have universal background checks and red flag laws and end the sale of those weapons of war, but that we go the necessary steps further, as politically difficult as they may be. A gun registry in this country, licensing for every American who owns a firearm, and every single one of those AR-15s and AK-47s will be bought back so they're not on our streets, not in our homes. Do not take the lives of our fellow Americans. And we're going to rewrite our immigration laws in our own image to show that we are a country of asylum seekers.
Yeah, okay, I
and
just went ahead and
refugees,
added some
and that
stuff
if
in here.
immigration is a problem, it is the best possible problem this country could have. We're going to legalize the presence of more than 10 million in the United States, beginning with dreamers who will never again fear deportation back to a country they do not know, because we will make them U.S. citizens in this, their true home country. We will never cage another child nor separate another family. We will welcome them here and make sure they reveal their genius to the United States of America. And then working together, we will
Yeah, so basically you see him getting all worked up there, and yeah, he's you know, he's coming to get the guns, and then of course I like how he goes on to say they're going to legalize 10 million illegals right away. So here we go. This is just going to start up really nice here. So, but yeah. Oh, and DA, I can put links in the articles there. Just let you know, the articles I use, I get from 4 sources: Washington Post, Washington Examiner, Wall Street Journal, and Washington Times. And then, of course, immigrationreform.com. And then I use a couple of different ones. Wikipedia for the Hail Mary prayer, and then also PJ Media for the attack on Beto's attack on Buttigieg's position on the prayer part. So yeah. So, but yeah. So I don't generally put all the links in the description because it's kind of a pain in the ass. But so I probably won't. But I try to cite the articles as I go along. But like for these the YouTube videos and stuff like that, I definitely put the credit up on the screen there, so you know where you can go and find the YouTube channel, and then I even put the link there within the page. You should be able to cut and paste off of there. But yeah, so yeah, Beto's coming to get your guns, and he's going to get your guns, and then he's going to legalize 10 million. Remember that 10 million number? That's just a starting point. If you think it ends with those 10 million, you're insane. I mean, that's not going to stop there. I mean, slippery slope, nothing. That's just gonna keep going. So yeah, that's just that's just gonna keep going and going and going. And then Joe Biden, this guy is just terrible. So let's go and get Joe Biden up here real quick. Let me get him thrown up here. Let's see. Where's Joe? Let me find Joe real quick. There he is. Okay. All right. Sleepy Joe. Look, he's sleeping. See, that's what he's doing right there. He's sleeping. You can't hear him say anything. But oh, yep. Okay, so let's get Joe on here. You can hear he's just stumbling and bumbling and just he can't speak for more than 5 minutes. He tell he's not writing his speeches. Okay, I'll tell you right now. Like Warren, you can tell she writes hers. I mean, she could just rattle that stuff off. I mean, just she doesn't have to look down at the notes or anything. She's just got it. You know, it's coming right from her heart, coming from what she believes. Whether you disagree with her or not, you can tell it's real. It's like when Trump talks. You can tell it's real. I mean, he just recently started being able to use a teleprompter because he just only just spoke right off the cuff. Like, this is me. Here I am. Biden, there's no way he's writing any of this stuff because you can tell he doesn't believe it, or he doesn't understand it, or he doesn't know it, or he's reading it for the first time. It's really scary. But anyway, let's take a look and see what Joe Biden has to say.
Gentlemen, we have 330 million Americans who have to do what this president can't do. Stand together. Stand up against this god-awful situation we face with him as president. Stand up for our best, what our nation believes. We believe in honesty, decency, treating everyone with dignity and respect, giving everyone a fair shot, leaving no one behind, and giving hate no safe harbor, demonizing no one, not the poor, the powerless, the immigrant, the other, and maybe most importantly, leading not by the example of our power, but by the power of our example, as we always have. Being part of something bigger than ourselves. It's a code. It's been the American code. It's who we are. And President Trump does not get it. America's an idea that is stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, and more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It gives hope to the hopeless. And not only are our values under attack, our very democracy is. We've now learned nothing is guaranteed about democracy. We have to earn it. We have to protect it. We have to fight for it. The most powerful idea in the history of the world beats in the heart of the people of this country. It beats in all of us. The American creed. We hold these truths self-evident, that all men and women are created. We, the people, we're the most unique experiment in all the history of the world. And ladies and gentlemen, the genius of every generation up to this one with this president of every generation is we've opened our arms wider and wider to include more and more people in that ark. That's why it's never gathered dust in our history books. It's still alive today, more than 200 years after its inception. We cannot, and I will not, let this man be reelected President of the United States of America. Limited to 4 years, I believe history will look back in this presidency as an aberrant moment in time. But if Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, if Donald Trump is reelected, he will forever and fundamentally alter the character of this nation. Donald Trump does pose an extra threat to this. It's not hypothetical, his threat to this nation. He does pose a real threat. The core values of this nation, our standing in the world, our very democracy.
Hey, we're back, and there we go. Now we're back. And while we were off, the great dirtbag called in, and he is on the phone with me right now. And so, Mr. Dirtbag, why don't you say hi to everybody, man? How you been?
Yo, what's up? What's up, D.A. Archer? Let's see, who else is here? Crazy Chick, Sheena, Dina Marie, Duke Raoul. What's up, my friend? Let me see. Yeah, hey, what's up, everybody? How is everybody doing? Yeah, it's, you tell you what, Carl, it's getting crazy out there. You know, it's getting crazy. Like, they're not even hiding their agenda anymore. You know, now it's, you know, they're going to grab guns. They're going to just, you know, they're going to put caps on regulations again. They're going to force the Green New Deal down our throats, the parts of the Green New Deal, you know.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, Carl. I made a post on my wall in Parler, right? And it was a post about Mark Robinson, right? You know, because I think he's running for lieutenant governor in North Carolina, or he is running for office in North Carolina, right? And
Yeah.
I posted it on my wall, and I got a huge response, right? Now here's what, you know, what's happening now is I'm not getting my notifications from Parler anymore, so I have to log in to see if I got notifications. So you know what that is about, right?
Oh yeah.
We all know
yeah.
what that's about.
Definitely,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
You know? So I must be doing something they don't like me doing. And it's funny because I've been, like I said, I grew quick on there. I'm growing fast on there. You know, I think within the last few days I've gained like 100 and some followers. I mean, that's a lot for somebody who doesn't do what I do. You know, I don't make content. You know what I'm saying? But you know, sharing videos, making posts, and of course the one-liners is what attracts people's attention. We all know this. But see, what I did was, if you look at it, if you notice, there's a rising trend of patriots, running for office. Laura Loomer I think she's running the district Mar-a-Lago is in, right? Mark Robinson. There was another guy. Dan Arpaio is going to take another shot at running for office, right? And some people are speculating that maybe even Candace Owens might even run. You know, it seems like there's a rise in patriots running for office, right?
Right.
And look what but see, like what I do, I think with Mark Robinson, right, is it creates a domino effect, right? I knock one domino, people retweet it, people echo it, right? And then other people share it, other people bring it to other people's attention. Hopefully, it brought awareness to.
Oh wait, hold on. Hold on. Wait, hold on. Hold on.
What?
Hold on. a couple of guys are going at it in the chat.
Oh man! Hey, I came up with like 7 to 12 new one-liners in the last time we had spoke. I don't know how I do it, Carl. I just, it's like I got my ability to turn a phrase. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like today, my buddy was talking about the Packers, right? The Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, a one-liner just came to me. You know, it just hit me in the, it just hit me, right? But anyway, I'm sorry, enough of the one-liner. But you look at like what's happening now with Pelosi and AOC, right? Like Pelosi, that thing with AOC's aide or something, he quit. I'm willing to bet Pelosi had something to do with that. So what the squad is doing is they're trying to primary out Nancy Pelosi's allies in the Democrat Party. They're trying to primary them to try and get socialists, put in place.
Are they going after Hakeem Jeffries?
It seems that I don't know. I just know that they were like.
Because I remember they talked about that because he's number like 4 in the House. He's a black guy from Harlem. And remember the squad was talking about primarying him, and Pelosi got on Cortez's ass about that. Like, hey, I don't hear any shit about that. But I don't know if they if they were gonna if he's on that list. Well, what did you hear? Tell me what you heard, man.
Well, from what I saw, or at least from what I saw, it's like they're trying to primary. I think they didn't really specify names, but they were trying to primary some of her most closest allies who have been in office, like for a while. I mean, some of these more establishment types that they're trying to get replaced with. I think just radical progressives. They're trying to phase out any remnants of the corporate Democrats. I mean, Pelosi, I hate to say, I don't like Pelosi, but I'd rather see her than AOC. I don't like Schumer, but I'd rather see Schumer than AOC. You know what I mean?
Hold on. Hold on. I have to make a host decision here on what to do. I think I'm going to have to do it. Let's see. Boom. All right. Anyway, yeah. Hey guys. I choose my mods carefully. and I choose them for a reason, and I like them. And so don't be attacking my mods. You attack my mods is like you're attacking me. You know, there's a misunderstanding on the site. It's easy. You need to be able to work through it. We're all adults here. At least we should be. Okay, so if you can't work through it and you start calling people names, you know, because start calling my moderators names, I ain't going to put up with it. Now, my moderators probably don't want to, you know, 86 you themselves because they don't want to feel like they're chicken shit for 86 and somebody for, you know, calling them names and stuff. But I'll do it. No problem. So anyway, thanks for playing along. But, yeah, don't be doing that shit on my site. You know, maybe other people put up with that, but you don't go after my mods. You go after my mods, you're going after me. You're going after me, you're out. Anyway, so there you go. Anyway, so let's all just get along. Remember, we're all on the same page, the same team. We're all going in the same direction. We may have a little bit different opinions. We're a big tent. We are we're conservative. We're Republicans. We truly are the big tent. So, but don't get emotional. If you want to get emotional, you're an SJW. Go join the SJW crowd. They lead with emotion. We lead with facts. Okay? Or Biden would say, we put truth over facts. No, well, yeah, that was funny. But anyway, all right, guys. All right, so, yeah, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Hey, you know what? I'm glad you're filling me in on this. I'll tell you. I'm glad you're filling me in on this because I've been, like, really super busy. You notice I hadn't posted a lot of videos. I mean, I didn't post one for 2 weeks straight. I mean, I got really, really busy at work, and it's just one of those things where, I mean, I was working today. I got to go to work tomorrow, too. You know, it's been really busy, and so yeah, I have not been following all the news like I should be. So please fill me in on this thing with the primary with the Democrats. I definitely want to hear all about it.
Well, look for example that they won't even let Tulsi Gabbard, right? They're not. What is it? The fourth debate, right? That they're having. What is it? Fourth or fifth, I think. They're not even letting her talk. So what they're doing is they're doing the same thing that they did to Bernie Sanders in 2016. They're not letting any moderates. I mean, there was another guy, I think, Tony. I think it was Tony had. It was on one of the videos Tony did. I could be wrong, but I think it was one of the videos Tony did where the guy was talking about we need to start worrying about middle class America, you know, jobs. I mean, he was trying to appear in the middle. And what I'm hoping is that some of the center left will actually be able to see this and
get pissed off.
You know, say, hey, yeah. You know, and you know, be able to, you know, how do I say, you know, see what's going on with their party, because I know that the Tulsi backers are pissed off, and they may very well vote for Trump in 2020 because of what they did to Tulsi, you know. And some of the, we all know Bernie Sanders, he doesn't have the momentum that he used to have. My friend seems to think he's going to get the nomination, and Bernie he could, but I don't think he's going to, you know, I don't think Biden is a better choice to, you know, if you're trying to win the Rust Belt states, Biden is probably the better choice. But in the end, I think it's going to be Biden in a Kamala Harris, or maybe like a Warren, or maybe, I don't think Tulsi Gabbard will be his vice VP. But because, you know, again, she has. If Biden gets the nomination, he has to go left on the VP pick. Period. He can't go center. Yeah. Then no, and that's why like if Sanders gets it, I can see him definitely going center if he's smart and going with the Tulsi Gabbards. But Tulsi's not even in this debate because you know she didn't have enough. She had enough donors. She just didn't have enough. She wasn't polling good enough in the certified polls they were using, so they didn't let her in. So, but I think Tom Steyer, pretty sure he didn't get in either. I mean, it's the same reason. He went out and bought the donors. He advertised on Facebook and everything else. Spent like $40 million saying, "Hey, just send me $1. Send me $1," and he got 130,000 people to send him $1, and it cost him $40 million to do it. But he got it. But his polling, But his polling numbers suck. His polling numbers are awful. Yeah. You can't do anything. So, you know, Carl, I tell you, if these globalists, now, and I'm just going to say this, right? I know I talk about Mercer a lot, but Mercer is a huge player in why things are turning around a little bit. If these globalists, I mean, obviously they're smart. I'm going to criticize their ideology. I'd never say that they're dumb. I criticize their ideology.
Oh, no, they're not dumb. No, they're not dumb.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I totally agree.
But Mercer But if you look at the way, if these globalists had the intelligence and the cunning and the observant, the ability of observation like the Mercers do, we'd be in a lot more trouble than what we are now. Because think about it. How can one family, along with Trump and along with their allies, give these globalists so much grief? I mean, there are people out there who make George Soros look like a beggar in the street with their money, and George Soros is a billionaire. You know who I'm talking about, the ultra wealthy class. I won't mention their names because of the algorithms, but you know who I'm referring to.
Yeah.
They go back to the 18th century, and how they made their fortunes. And see, people don't understand that these families have passed their fortunes on from generation to generation. They have studied our political system. They have studied European politics. They have studied everything to the T. They probably, it's scary, but some of these people probably know our Constitution better than some of the more hardcore conservative constitutionalists out there. Because think about this. Why are they boycotting businesses, right? Businesses that are conservative, like Chick-fil-A, right? Why? Because what they want to do is they know they cannot rip apart our Constitution unless they can get a majority progressive congressmen and women in the House and the Senate, right? Enough to take a vote on basically shredding the Constitution. Even though it's not in the Constitution where they can shred it or change our entire system of government, they would find a way to do it. So what they do is they go after businesses, they go after people, they dox mom and pop businesses, even corporations that are like Wendy's. Wendy's is pro. I haven't really heard of any boycotts of Wendy's, but see, the right does it too. The right. So I don't think boycotts are as successful. But
well, no, we generally we're not very good at boycotting. I don't know. I think it's kind of antithetical to who we are, so we're not all gung ho about it. I mean, on the left, they were going to boycott In-N-Out Burger until, but it was all the people on the East Coast saying that, and who had never had an In-N-Out Burger before. Well, everybody who lives in California, who lives anywhere near an In-N-Out Burger, loves In-N-Out Burger. I don't care if you're on the left. I don't care if you're far left. I don't care. I mean, I'm sure if there was an In-N-Out Burger near where Antifa was doing a protest, I'm sure they would have walked in and got some In-N-Out burgers. I mean, everybody likes them. They're really good. So they tried that, and immediately they killed it because it wasn't going to go anywhere. But we're not real good at boycotting. It's kind of antithetical to who we are. We're kind of free market guys, and we're not into boycotting someone because of their political beliefs or whatever. But the left is gung ho for that because they're stupid, and they're like, oh, let's boycott them. Well, we'll drive them away, and they don't believe in the free market anyway. So what do they care, Yeah.
Do you remember a while back on your show? Now, I'm not looking to, I don't want to trigger anybody because we all know how that happens, but do you remember when we were talking on the show and there was there was a bunch of trolls that came in? And and I said what I said. And I said what I said, right? About their protections being gone, and these people think that their protection, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to egg them on, I'm not, but the truth is the truth, and the liberals can't see it. They can't see that once the radical extremists, the CCP, the radical extremists, do away with the conservative voices, their protections are gone, and they're going to be next. They're going to be next. I mean, they need them. See, the reason why they need them is because they're fighting this war in the ballot box and in the courts. Okay, the courts are the battlegrounds. The ballot box is the battlegrounds. Information is the weapon, right? Now, look at how many times people demonize the NRA, yada yada. The political action committee of the NRA is good, but see, when people are saying, I'm just using this as an example, right? So let's say when the NRA is, especially like in California, where a vast majority of local and state judges and courts are overwhelmingly liberal. Well, there's not much the NRA can do about it if they could take it to the Supreme Court, but by then, the left can probably find loopholes within whatever the Supreme Court rules if they rule in the NRA's favor. Like, let's say they open concealed carry in all states, right? Well, let's say California urges businesses not to allow people who open carry, like some stores are doing right now. And,
I was going to cover that. Go ahead. I was really pissed off about that, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Well,
Go
I
go
think,
ahead.
well, but you know, and it's like, you know, it's like it'd probably be in the same manner how Javier Barcera was telling businesses if they cooperate with ICE and they're going to be persecuted, or they're going to be prosecuted under his justice system, right? I don't think that lasted very long, but the same kind of manner can happen, you know, if they were to get away with something like that. And again, that's kind of the issue with the red flag law. See, again, it's all in the courts. The battlegrounds are in the courts. You know,
Right.
the NRA. I wish we need the NRA, and I just hate it when people sit here and say, I understand the NRA's got issues. Okay, they do. You know, Wayne LaPierre. I don't know what he. You know, obviously he's more concerned about what suit he's going to wear than defending our Second Amendment freedom, but the Political Action Committee of the NRA, the branch of them is very good. You know, I don't know about their side of, you know, trying to overturn certain laws, but you know, the gun, you know, but you know, the gun manufacturers aren't gonna. They're not gonna let that happen. I mean, you would hope that they don't let that happen. And I, you know, in any myths about how some people say the NRA negotiates our rights away so they can try and get them back. I remember I asked that question, and you know, when we were talking about that last, and, you know,
Yeah.
I have to agree with what you were saying. You know, it's not that's kind of silly. I won't say conspiracy because we know the algorithm, so I'll just say crazy idea. You know.
There you go.
But anyway, yeah. Hey, Carl, I'm good with words. You know, look at, you know I'm good with words.
I hear you.
And I tell you, you're smart because you can cognitively think and understand what I'm saying. You know.
I know what you're saying.
But I'm hoping everybody, yeah. But
Right.
but anyway, so like let's look at other battleground states, like you know, the NRA, Gun Owners of America. See, it would be nice if they could work together on trying to overturn some of these laws, but you know, the Gun Owners of America is more gung ho, but you know, and that's good. You know, they're more of a no compromise, you know, gun right, where the NRA is more. I don't want to say that they're caving to the left, but you know, they support red flag laws. But from what I've read, it seems like they support red flag laws with due process, and that's the thing about, you know, Trump taking charge of the red flag laws. Because if he didn't take charge of it, and I get so tired of these YouTubers making videos about, well, I mean, I haven't seen anybody do it lately, okay, but we talked about it last time on your show because we know that this social media site will allow those videos to run rampant, so it can help further push their narrative that, well, you know, conservatives are getting disgruntled with our president, and, you know, and that narrative is going to get pushed. It may not be directly, but that narrative is going to be in the form of appearing, you know, that's what's happening. You know, in the end, I don't think it. I don't think.
Hey, let me ask you. Here, hold on. Let me ask you this question. DA Archer put in the chat. He said to you, did you guys already cover the NRA being a member? That being a member of the NRA, I guess, is now considered a domestic terrorist. Did you hear anything about that?
Yeah,
or is
I
that
did. California. Yes, that was something else I was going to talk about too. I mean. See, here's something and I posted this on my wall in Parler. I got some response, but I didn't get the response I was hoping to get. You know, see what other people's opinions were, right? Now, when you look at what they did in California, right? I mean, it was the silliest thing. They wanted to label the NRA a domestic, you know, organization that you know brings harm to people. You know, right? You know what I mean, but I can't use that word because of the algorithms. We all know how it goes, right? So now. Here, I just hope the chat can keep up with what I'm saying. But anyway, now here's the thing. Here's the takeaway that nobody. Yeah, I'm sorry, but now here's the takeaway from this. Right? They did this, hoping that other Democrat-controlled states and other Democrat-controlled counties would jump on this bandwagon and push votes to back what California has done and bring it to the House for a vote. Now, I'm not now. Maybe I'm wrong in that. It's a ideology that, you know, when you think about it, it's not that far fetched if you stop to think about it, right? Because, you know, the NRA is the one thing that stands in their way of seizing our firearms, you know, our items that we use to defend ourselves, right?
Right.
And these people these people know that if the NRA is gone, the Second Amendment is very vulnerable. So my thought is why they did this in California was hoping that like I said, other Democrat-controlled counties and states and
Let me ask you a question. So, I mean, are they passing a law in California that they're going to consider being a member of the NRA is considered a domestic terrorist? Are they doing something like that? What are they doing?
I don't. Well, I haven't followed much on it, but I know that they had voted to designate the NRA a domestic terrorist group.
Really? Was that in the legislature, or was that some county that did that, or a city, or what? Do you know what that was?
Well, let me see. I got prepared today, Carl. I got 3 devices in front of me: my laptop and my iPad.
All right. You sound like me. I got two desktops and I got 2 desktops and a laptop. So I got two big screen monitors in front of me and a laptop right in front of me too. So yeah, I'm right with you.
Yeah. Let me see. And we all know we have to work around the algorithm, so you have to type certain things.
Right.
In. Let me see. Oh yeah, it works. Well, you just got to know how to do it. Sometimes you got to space one letter, and you can actually get the article. You just space one letter. I don't know why I'm saying that because we all know the algorithms are probably hearing what I'm saying, but
yeah, don't worry. You know what? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. Remember, I'm not monetized, so don't worry about it. I don't monetize my channel. Yeah, so I'm not losing any money because I'm not making any money. So I'm not making any money to lose. So you're good to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. This is from the New York Times. I'll just read this from the New York Times. It says. Oh wow. Let me see. Unsettled by recent mass shootings across the nation, the San Francisco Board of Supervisors unanimously approved a resolution this week. Okay, so it's a resolution this week declaring the National Rifle Association domestic terrorist organization. The resolution was introduced by Supervisor Catherine Stefani, whatever it is, on July 30th, 2 days after a shooting at a garlic festival in Gilroy, California. Let me see. Which 3 people were killed and more than a dozen injured. Before the resolution was put to a vote on Tuesday, Ms. Stefani spoke about the carnage across the country. And, see, again, they like to take advantage of, certain situations. So the NRA conspiracy to limit gun violence research, restrict gun violence data sharing, and block every piece of sensible gun violence prevention legislation proposed at local, state, and federal levels. Well, now California has to tread very carefully with this because it sounds like they're trying to find ways that they can pass legislation that won't violate they're looking for loopholes in the Second Amendment right. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. If you read that, they're looking, that's the takeaway from that. They're looking for ways to be able to seize people's guns without some kind of lawful due process. They want either no or little due process, right? So the NRA saw the action as a publicity stunt, which the NRA better take very seriously. This is just another worthless and disgusting. See, again, that soundbite remedy to the violence epidemic gripping our nation. Amy Hunter, a spokeswoman for the association, said in a statement on Wednesday, "It's a reckless assault on a law-abiding." She's taking a little bit more direct approach to it. Its members and the freedoms they all stand for, which remain undeterred, guided by our values and beliefs, and those who want to find real solutions to gun violence.
So that was
on Twitter.
Hold on. So that was the L.A. County Board of Supervisors.
Yeah. It says that the L.A. County, San Francisco Board of Supervisors. Yeah. But see again, this is they're trying to drum up support from other Democrat-controlled states and counties and areas that are that'll hopefully jump on the bandwagon with this, because the more voices they get, obviously the more of a voice they have. They could even probably get a petition going, and of course if it reaches ones with Soros
You still wait. Wait. Hold on. You still there? You still there? We froze up for a sec.
I'm here.
Okay. We froze up
can you
for
hear me?
some. Yeah. No, we're good. We froze up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you want me to start again? I can.
No. We only froze up for a couple of seconds.
Oh, okay.
We're
No,
good.
But see. Now, what's the takeaway from this, right? They're hoping that because let's say if enough counties vote in the same manner that they did in San Francisco, right? Okay, well, let's say what is it? There's 19 or 20 controlled Democrat states, I think. Is it 2020? I don't remember the numbers. But New York, I'm surprised hasn't jumped on the bandwagon with this. I'm surprised that parts of let me see where else is another heavily controlled. Colorado, I'm surprised Colorado, but maybe I'm kind of hoping that those Democrats, at least see a little reason, maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know. I'm not going to say they will or won't, but I'm kind of hoping that this, falls, it doesn't get any steam, because people don't understand that this could turn into a very serious thing on, against our Second Amendment rights. People think that, oh, this is nothing. Yeah, this can be something. If what they're calculating actually comes to fruition, yes, it can very well be something that we have to, deal with. And they may not even have to take it to the Supreme Court. The NRA could take it to the Supreme Court, but these states may or may not comply. I mean, these states are going more and more rogue, as time progresses. I mean, this is how Rome fell. Governors rebelling and, Carl, I'm not, hopefully we are still a civilized enough people where we can talk to each other, but
well, it's getting harder and harder to do that when, I was watching, I get stuck watching MSNBC every once in a while, but you know what? It's actually good because it's good research for me, and I get to see what the other side is saying. But I was watching Joy Reid's show this morning, and she had some guy on there. I mean, pretty prominent, Democrat, and he's just sitting there saying, Trump is crazy. Just coming out and saying it. That, the man's crazy, he's insane. I mean, but saying it very soberly, not like, oh, he's crazy, like not being hyperbolic. Just saying, oh, he's crazy, he's erratic, he's losing it because they're heading towards a recession, so now he's getting really freaky out, and like the whole thing with the hurricane, and it was going to hit Alabama. And they show, oh, see, he's losing it, he's nuts again. I mean, they tried that, like, at the very beginning. They said he was unhinged. Now, they're just saying it. When they just say the man's crazy, and they just repeat it over and over again, I mean, I don't know. How do you start sounds a little low, like far off. Huh. Let's see. So, yeah, I was wondering how your audio was sounding because, after when I went out to Wilmington, I took everything apart, put it all back together again in Wilmington, put it back, then put it on an airplane, and then put it all back together again when I got back here. So I just want to see. It sounds a little low. I'm trying to get you a little higher where I don't get a lot of static. Yeah, I'm trying to avoid that. No, go ahead.
Carl, one of the reasons why I know it's a little off topic, but one of the reasons why I push Parler, like even on Joe's show, right? I can't even send super chats on Joe's show anymore. The thing just buffers and buffers and buffers. Again, we all know what's going on with that, but I was pushing Parler on Joe's show through super chats, right? And the reason why I push Parler is because so far Parler is a conservative's dream come true. And I even put a thing on my wall of Parler, right? Again, calling out, asking, is this going to be sold off to some, left-wing group, and where they're going to leave conservatives in the dark, looking for another, refuge basically where they can express their opinions, right? Now, again, it got some response, but I don't know. It got some response from some. I think it might have gotten response from a couple of people with bigger followings, because I've been promoted by people who have big followings. And again, I haven't even been on there long, But the reason why I'm saying this is because the more people get on Parler, the more conservatives get on Parler, the more it brings awareness, the more it brings, people who can, can express their opinions. And again, we need this, because even though we're being shoved off of Twitter, like I said, I won't go on Twitter because I would get banned in a heartbeat. So you can't beat the defenses, you got to get around them. And how do you do that? By finding sites where you can express your opinions. Because if I were to share videos, especially one-liners, I put one-liners on there, I'd probably trigger these trolls faster than spelling my own name. That's why I don't waste my time on Parler.
Right.
on Twitter. I'm sorry, forgive me, Twitter. But again, the reason why I'm talking about all this is because when you can be on a site and you're not restricted, you can share the heck out of articles, share videos, share information. I post like maybe 5 or 6 times a day, to get the information out there. And people respond to it, people don't. I mean, just because you have a large following doesn't mean you're going to get everything, everybody's going to, echo it or like it, you know what I'm saying? But they're seeing it. Hopefully they remember it and they show it. You know what I'm saying? It's like how I did for Mark Robinson. I brought over there, I brought awareness to his running for office in North Carolina. Probably one of the reasons why I'm not getting notifications from Parler. I mean, I have to go in and see yeah. I mean,
right.
I mean, yeah, now maybe it's something I did. I could, I'm not accusing. I don't have the proof, but I just think it's funny that I haven't been getting notifications when I was getting notifications, a lot. There was one time I saw, I think I had like 150 or 80 some, in one day, and I'm like, my God, does anybody get it?
Right.
It's like today when I didn't get the notification last time you went, so I went in there, and you saw my comment, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I gave you a heart. I gave you a heart. I gave you a heart. I gave you a heart and a like.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's funny because they didn't send a notification last time, and I said, okay, well, I know how to get around this. I'll just go into Carl's community post and see if they, Carl posted anything. Sure enough, that's how I found out you were live, But see, again, they're losing the argument, Carl. That's why they're trying to silence people. They're losing the argument. Now, that does not mean that they cannot come back with a vengeance, which is why people have to use cognitive thinking. People have got to be able to see patterns, see situations. Like you could work for a business that is controlled by a globalist entity and you don't even know it. You have to pay attention to rules at your job. You have to pay attention to, how you you know what I'm saying? How you interact with people. You know what I'm saying? Because all this stuff affects us in the long run. And a lot of people are not cognitive enough to think about stuff like this. Again, I'm a street smart wise guy. I deal with people. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that's, and you learn to talk to people. You learn to interact with people. Like I said, I've been able to talk with one of my buddies who's as far left radical as he can be, but I commend him and I respect him because he puts his money where his mouth is. He doesn't just talk the talk, he walks the walk. You know what, just to switch gears here for a second, Carl, if these progressives were so and this is for the cheap seats, if these progressives were so serious about finding, let's say, for example, illegal aliens, right? A lot of them want to help illegal aliens. Well, you know what they could do? They could get on, I'm not trying to encourage, but this is something that they have a right to do. They can get themselves on a GoFundMe page, and they can, try and look to see what it takes to become a 501c3 and, start a nonprofit and dedicate the funds to helping illegal immigrants get access to lawyers, get access to the things that they need to get into the country. They don't need big government to do this.
No.
They don't.
No.
Heck, you'd find conservatives who probably donate to their cause.
Right.
I mean, not, these people think that, but see, they won't do this. They won't do this. And it's funny because, again, for the cheap seats that are listening to our conversation, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to insult you guys, but you have to understand that you have the power to make a difference, not sit here and demand that government do it when big government doesn't work. It doesn't.
Right.
Look at people, look at Dr. doctors when they complain about people who come in for Medicare, you know?
Right.
I mean, I don't know of any, but I've heard the stories, you know?
Yeah.
And these progressives, they won't do it. If Brian Colfage can go on GoFundMe, set up a 501, I don't know if he's a 501c, but he is an organization. And he's
Right.
a big organization now. They can't just attack him like they, you know, like they would some others. But these progressives, they could do it. You know, in fact, I would champion these not champion, but I would like respect them more. You know, like my body. You know,
Well,
like my friends, you know?
the whole point is it's like the whole other people's money thing. It's like, look, if you believe in this so much, spend your own money. Don't ask the government to do it, because we're all going to have to pay taxes for something we don't believe in. You know, I mean, if you know, that's not right. I mean, if you're so gung ho about it, pull the money out of your own pocket, your own friend's pocket, and leave my pocket alone. You know, I'll spend the money on what I think is important.
Yeah.
I won't ask you to spend any money on what I think is important. And I'll tell you what, you don't ask me to spend my money on anything I think is important. And the way we have to do that is when you have the federal government do it, and then they have to tax us to pay for it. Well, I don't want to pay for certain things. I don't want to pay for that crap, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, because Carl, I tell you, it's see, again, it's the wisdom. They don't have the wisdom to see that we have the ability to do the things that we advocate for. They don't do it. Now, some of them do. Some of them do. You know, it's like, I'll use another example, right? Like, let's say a while back, like UFC, right? When UFC first started, it was predominantly a male sport. Yes, if you look at the history of it, it was, right? Now, here's the thing. A lot of people were talking about, you know, how come there can't be a women's UFC? Well, a lot of people didn't like the idea, but there were some women who wanted to compete like that. There were women who said, look, why can't we have a women's UFC? So they actually found some people who were willing to take a chance. And guess what? Women's UFC is a big sport. And I mean, you know, if they're generating the audience and they're generating the ticket sales, yes, they should be paid. You know, they should be paid whatever they agreed to, you know, get paid. And if they have an issue with their pay, don't sit here and throw your political BS in my garbage. Take it up with the person who pays your checks. You know, they have the right to do that. You know, it's like, you know, but if the demand is not there for a women's UFC, then there's no money in it. You know, and they're not going to make money. They're not going to invest in it.
It's like the WNBA. It's like women's basketball. I mean, nobody wants to watch that.
Yeah.
I mean, the attendance of those things are awful. I mean, you know, nobody goes. You know, and then when you can't watch it because, you know, nobody's dunking. I mean, it's women. You know, they're women. They're not guys. You know, basketball, we like seeing people dunk the ball and, you know, run up the lane fast and, you know, power their way through. And that's basketball. It would be like women's football. It would be another disaster. I mean, you don't see women's football because nobody would watch it. Who would go watch that game? I wouldn't watch that game. I mean, you know, what do they? I mean, it would be hard. It would be horrible. Look, women and men are different. Okay, it's just we are. Women do things better than men do. Men do things better than women do. Okay, just get over it and just move on. And you know, you don't have to try to be a man if you're a woman, and you don't have to try to be a woman if you're a man. Just stay in your lane. You know, excel at what your body and your brain was designed to excel. Women are better at communication skills. Why? Because through either God or evolution, whether you're secular or you believe in God, okay, women have to be able to communicate with someone that can't speak, to wit, a baby. Okay, so over gazillions of years, women have learned how to communicate to someone who can't speak, which means they have excellent communication skills. That works really well in law. There are more women in law school than there are men. Getting to the point where there are going to be more women lawyers than there are men lawyers pretty soon here because of that fact. I mean, that's where it is. Men prefer STEM type classes, science, technology, engineering, and math. Women prefer more communication oriented type classes. They just do, and they're better at it. It's like finding your calling. You want to find something you enjoy doing and something you're good at. Not just because society says, "Oh, break the glass ceiling. You go do this for a living." Well, I don't like it. Like the one study, Jordan Peterson talks about it. They looked at Sweden, the most egalitarian country out there, where women, you know, they can choose to do anything they want. There was been no restriction on them for like 25, 30 years. anything they want to do. And they found that the more egalitarian it is, where women can choose what they want to do, they fell back into choosing things they normally do. They stayed away from STEM fields. They stayed away from doctors. They became nurses. They went into those kind of industries.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just what they, you know, society says, oh, no, try to break through the glass ceiling and do this. Well, you know, I really don't want to do it. And if you really don't like doing something, you're not going to do it you're not going to be very good at it. You're not going to put the extra hours of the time to learn how to, if you don't enjoy reading about a certain topic, you know that. Like when you're in school and you have to read a certain topic you don't like, a certain class you don't like, you're going to read it like, But if you really enjoy learning about, like I liked history, you know, I like political science, obviously. So I mean, when I read those, I could read them really quick because I was like wanting to get to the next page, wanting to know more. But you know, when it came to reading, well, I know I like reading just about everything, but I can't think of anything. But say like reading physics, okay, I probably would have a real hard time reading physics because I'd be like, I really don't like physics. I'm not into it, so I'd be like grudgingly doing it, and I'd be bad at it. It'd be like, you know, I want to know what, you know, chemistry. I can never get above a B in chemistry. I don't care how hard I studied.
Yeah.
I had flashcards, you know, for the nomenclature, you know, C2H5 and equals this. No, I mean, I would literally pound, you know, all night long. You know, I want to sleep. I'd get up in the morning, go to school without sleeping, and thought I had the whole thing wired, and then I'd find out I got a B, and I'm like, damn, what'd I miss? And you know, but. Yeah, so I mean, women should just do what you enjoy doing. Don't do something because somebody says they want you to break through a glass ceiling in this field or that field or whatever field. I think it's stupid. To be honest with you.
Yeah, and you know, there are, you know, it's even interesting too. Like, look at all the women for Trump, right? You know, like they get their groups together. They meet. They have, you know, they have men who put money into their clubs. You know. And, you know, and I know, you know, women who, you know, donate the same to the men's clubs, you know. And what's really funny is that, you know, these progressive women, that, you know, they sit here and they don't understand that, you know, if we were to have a third world, if we were to become a third world country, you know, they're going to be losing their freedoms. They're going to be, you know, they're going to, you know, especially like these women who say, we want Sharia law. Oh, Sharia law is wonderful. Well, I remember, I don't know who it was that did that interview. I was watching it one time. One of the girls, they were interviewing 3 girls, and one of them at least seemed to have an understanding of, you know, like when they spoke to her, right? And she was asking, why are you advocating for Sharia law, right? And yes, there are different versions of Sharia law, but they all have one goal in mind, and that's to what they're trying to bring here, and that's to basically, you know, strip women of their equal rights. I mean, women, you know, dirt, you know, in these Middle Eastern countries, dirt has more value than women, and that's sad.
Right? Yeah.
You know,
I mean, Saudi Arabia, they just gave them restricted ability to drive a car, but I mean, it's not open ended.
Yeah.
I mean, just now. I mean, this is 2019. I mean, just now. So I mean, yeah. So I agree. You know, so what were the answers? Did anybody say why do you support, you know, Sharia law when it's degrading to women? It holds women back, and they have to totally obey their husband. They can't get a divorce from their husband. The husband get a divorce from them. They can be stoned for you know, showing part of their body in public, like their ankles. What were the answers coming back from like the liberal women, the leftist women? What were their answers coming back?
Yeah. And this is one of the reasons why the conservative women, you know, blast the heck out of these liberal women, these liberal feminists, you know. And to me, I tell you, I love it. I love it because, you know, they want their group think. See, the thing is, the left fails with their ideology of group think. You know, and it's like when AOC and I think it was AOC, you know, she said, well, we don't need people of color or brown, she called them brown faces, right? We don't need people with brown faces, you know, who don't
Presley.
think like us.
Yeah, that was Presley. That was Presley saying that, yeah.
Yeah, because and to me, it's awesome. It's beautiful that the African American community that is conservative is starting to speak up in defense for Trump, because they know that it's now or never. They know that their voice isn't going to be heard. Trump got the highest African American vote than any other Republican president.
Well, I'll be honest with
history.
you. I'll be honest
What's
with you.
the-
I'll be honest with you. I think there was a huge ghost vote, if you will, a black vote that where people they did look. North Carolina. I mean, I remember this like it was yesterday. I was down in Vegas. I was picking up some suits. Okay, the only Republican in that store was the manager. Everybody else were liberals, right? And the TV was on, and that's when North Carolina came in. The exit polls came in for North Carolina, showing Hillary Clinton taking it, going away. And that's the scene you saw when Hillary was hugging Bill and Chelsea. That was when the exit polls from North Carolina came in, saying that she was going to take the state hands down, right? And I remember I was down there and I was talking to her, and I'm like, oh God, this is going to be terrible. And she's like, I know, everybody in here is a liberal. I'm the only Trump supporter in here, and they're always making fun of me. Now they're making fun of me now because the exit polls just came from North Carolina. I'm telling you, look, North Carolina has a huge black population, and they vote. Okay, I'm telling you, the exit polls got it wrong because look, white folks weren't lying about who they were voting for. Okay, women told the truth on the exit polling because the exit polling came out right. Exit polling showed white women voting for Trump 54% across the nation, so they weren't lying. White men weren't lying. Who lied to the exit pollers? To the exit pollsters, who lied to them? Who catches shit? A lot of shit. If you say you're a Trump supporter, black men. Okay, the asshole in the Atlantic wrote that article. The guy in the New York Times too, because and then also that other idiot that used to be on CNN. What's his name? Whatever his name is. And he was jumping. They wrote articles like, "Black men, why are you voting for Kemp? How come you didn't vote for Abrams? How come you vote for Stacey Abrams? Why'd you vote for Brian Kemp?" They were all pissed off because they didn't come out and vote for Stacey Abrams. And so I'm telling you, he took North Carolina. I'm telling you right now, he took North Carolina and Wisconsin. Okay, you got Madison and Milwaukee. Large numbers of black people live in Madison and Milwaukee as well, in Wisconsin. Okay, and Michigan. Think about it. Okay, he took Michigan. That's Detroit, Lansing, big time. Telling you, there was a lot more black men voted for Donald Trump in 2016 than told the pollsters. They walked out. They didn't know who these exit polling guys were. They didn't know they were going to dime them out to their friends. Hell, some of them might have been their friends. Oh, yeah, no, I voted for Clinton. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I hate Trump. Trump sucks. But I'm telling you, he took those states, even though the exit polls showed differently, he took those states because of the black vote. So that black vote was more than 8, 9, 10, or 11%. That's horseshit. The NAACP did a poll last year, and it showed even their poll, and the way they worded it, they still had Trump getting 22% of the black vote overall, 22%. And that was their poll. And if anything, they would have suppressed the number, and they still showed him getting 22%. So here you go.
Well, one of the other thing that's not being talked about and what these Democrats want to do is that they want to redistrict, they want to rewrite the districts, like they want to remap the districts, right? And what they want to do is they want to make them smaller. They study the votes, right? They study the votes. They see what districts vote overwhelmingly Democrat, and they target minority communities with this kind of poll, with this kind of polling. I don't know if anybody else knows this, but I forget who it was that was saying, well, if you got 60%, a state 60% white or an area 60% white, 40% minority, right? Well, he said, oh, well, they redistribute it, and then it's like, three, like in the 3 counties, right? Well, no. What the Democrats do is they want to draw up the maps, the smaller districts. They want like 1,000 people to a district or 800 to a district. It's absurdly ridiculous.
Right.
And what they do, and again, they target where the heaviest concentration of votes for Democrats usually occur. Now, they're not accurate, but they're roughly accurate. Roughly accurate is enough to be a threat to how they redistrict maps and how they redraw maps, to help get progressive candidates, in this case, elected. So I don't know how the Republicans do it. I think they tend to stick larger. I could be wrong on that. I'm not 100% sure. But if these Democrats, I don't know. I haven't really heard of anything about redistricting, redrawing maps. You don't really see that, and of course the mainstream media ain't going to cover that.
Right.
But they I don't know if the courts uphold it or not. If the state's courts uphold it. I don't know. I can't. But that's a whole nother topic in itself, right? But when they start doing things like this, and then they start obviously bringing in more people to vote illegally, this is how they win elections, is through the fraud. I mean, obviously, we all know dead people vote Democrat. Obviously,
Right.
I'm
They,
sorry,
a
Carl.
lot, they get a, they
I'm
get a lot of
laughing,
they
but
get a lot of dead people, right? A lot of dead people came out and voted in 2016. I agree.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, Carl. I know I'm sitting here laughing, but this stuff is a threat. I'm laughing at the ideology of how they do these things, but it's a threat. It's a, these people, and the center left gets it. They can get it if you're able to trigger the cognitive mechanism that triggers their mental thinking. Like my friend, he is starting to question why Democrats like to ban guns, because he himself owns a gun for protection.
Right.
He's not a conservative, but he, did you know what's funny, Carl? Did you know that there's a socialist NRA? It has like over 1,000 members. They believe in the Second Amendment. I know, it's strange.
I did not know that.
But they believe in the Second Amendment, and I guarantee you, those people with that, even though they're socialists, they still believe in elements of our Constitution. That's a good thing, because if you can educate them enough and they're not too radicalized in their ideology, you might be able to trigger something in them that says, hey, wait a minute, why are things like this when they shouldn't be like this?
Well, I mean, like like these stores like Walgreens and CVS and Walmart. I mean, like the guy who came into Walmart, he wasn't wandering around the store with his gun and then just all of a sudden got pissed off and said, I'm just going to start shooting people. Because, the point of saying we're not going to allow open carry in the store is, like, I guess, to protect people from being shot. But I haven't heard of any incidents where somebody's walking around with a gun in their holster, shopping, and then they get into an argument with somebody, and they pull their gun and they shot somebody in the store. I haven't heard that. I've never heard that. Now, the guy who came in to do the shooting at Walmart, if Walmart had a sign, like, for instance, this guy's showing up and he's all masked up and he's got his semi-automatic rifle and he's walking up to the Walmart and then all of a sudden he sees a sign, no open carry permitted. He's like, oh, damn it. I was going to go home and shoot all these people today. I guess I can't. I'm going to go home. And then he puts his stuff back in the car, gets undressed, and drives 600 miles back to Dallas. No, that open carry law, not allowing open carry in the store, that doesn't prevent this guy from going and doing that stuff. It's a ridiculous statement to make from these stores saying we don't want you to open carry. It's ridiculous. Most people who open carry are they're just very law-abiding citizens. First of all, they have a gun; they're not an ex-felon. Okay, in Texas, in fact, you have to get a permit to open carry. You have to go pretty much go through a background check and everything else. So the open carry wouldn't have not allowing open carry in these stores wouldn't have prevented that guy from coming into Walmart, because he walked in the door, and as soon as he walked in the door, he started shooting. Again, the whole idea that if you can't, they're saying if you open carry, it's going to lead to gun violence in stores. Well, there's no evidence of that. There's no numbers. There's no statistic to back that up. Again, this guy wasn't wandering through the store shopping, saw all these Hispanics, and said, "Oh, I'm really mad now. I'm just going to start shooting them." No, he came in with a plan. His plan was to go down to El Paso, where it was like the day a lot of they allow people to cross the border back and forth for shopping and stuff, which is totally cool. Fine, come over here, spend your money. Hey, no problem, anytime. So so he knew that was like there was like a day of the week or 2 days a week they could come across and do that, and he's like, oh, I'll do it then. So he had a plan. It wasn't because he was allowed to open carry in the store that he was able to shoot people. That had nothing to do with it. All open it's like not being allowed to carry a gun in your car. Well, the only thing that a criminal. I said this the other night, or I think Saturday night I might have said it. It's like can you imagine like a criminal's getting ready to go rob somebody, and he's loading up the gun in the car and he's putting it on his person in the holster, and all of a sudden he remembers, oh shit. There's that law that says I can't keep a gun in the car. I have to keep it unloaded and keep the ammo separate. I keep it in a lock case. I can't keep it in the glove box. Okay. So then he locks it all up. He's all legally compliant, driving to the bank to go rob the bank. Then he gets to the bank. He unlocks all the guns and the ammo, loads up the gun, and says, "Okay, at least I didn't break that law." Then he goes in and he robs the bank. No. The only thing not allowing you to have a gun in the car happens is law-abiding citizens can't have a gun in the car. So if they get carjacked, all they can do is say, okay, take my car and don't beat me up too much, and please, whatever you do, don't kill me. You know, if you don't mind, just take my car, and then I can deal with my insurance company. Great. It's a joke. You know, it's a big joke.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, the thing too, see, you know, it's like I don't want to peddle crazy ideas, right? But one of my buddies, okay, wait, no, let me backtrack. You know, one of the things too, like, you ever, I saw a thing one time, I forget what it was, but have you ever seen those simulations, like they talk about, like, you know, what would a battle be between, you know, a military and an armed militia, right? I don't know if you've ever seen those. I think I saw one a long time ago. It was about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I think. But, you know, they showed, like, the different terrains, right? And it was all based on how militias train versus how the military. Now, obviously, most militias are ex-military, right? But they train with the weapons available to them. I mean, they even have people training with bows and arrows. I'm not kidding, bows and arrows, you know, and slingshots and BB guns. I mean, you know, I guess you use what you got, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. But anyway, they had this simulation, right, where, you know, these guys were out in the woods, and these, you know, because most of your militias are going to use hunting rifles, you know, based on sniper technology. I mean, they're not sniper rifles, but they're based on sniper technology, right?
Right.
You also have the Armalite rifle, and get it, you know, this is for the cheap seats. It is not an assault rifle. It is an Armalite rifle named after the company who makes it. You know, some of them can hold maybe, I think like 30, 40 rounds maybe, I think. I mean, again, I'm not a expert on guns, but I've educated myself a little bit before I started talking on this stuff, right? Well, anyway, you know, people, you know, like they have like people, you know, like with their handguns and, you know, spread out, right? Now, obviously, the greater force, greater military force wins, right? Because they have the weaponry, they have the, you
training,
know, tactic. But anyway, yeah. But see, the thing too is that they've also run scenarios where a militia comes out on top because that militia had a better plan executed, right? You know, I mean, most of the simulations show the military, but they've shown militias come out on top too, right?
Right.
Well, it's like they want to take no chances. That's why they are so eager to get the guns out of people's hands. I mean, I hope and pray that it doesn't ever come to that, but you know, they want to know who owns what. I mean, they know who owns what when they do a background check on you when you go to buy what gun. And again, like I said last time on your show, why the hell do people post pictures of their gun collection on Twitter? It is the dumbest thing. I made a post on my wall about that in Parler, and I got a fair amount of response. You know, people agreeing, echoing it. You know, and it's like you're registering your guns online when you take pictures of yourself holding your gun. Oh, I look cool holding my gun. Okay, you know, I'm proud of you, but you're showing the world, you know, what you own and what you have. So it's silliness, Carl. It's silliness.
Yeah.
You know,
well, no, it is. Well, I mean, like with me, like, you know, I was talking to American Joe about this Saturday night. He called in, and you know, I mean, all my guns are background check guns. They're all registered, so I mean, they don't have to like look very far, you know. So I mean, I whether I hold them up on YouTube or the internet, it doesn't really matter. They're all on record. So you know, but I just hopefully it won't come to the day where they come literally knocking on your door and saying, okay, and the way that, you know, it's not going to be the way they'll do it. It won't be like a flood of people driving down neighborhoods. It won't be like, you know, huge numbers of troops driving down through neighborhoods. That'd be too drastic. It'll just be, you know, they'll stop at your door, you know, stop at this other guy's door, you know, just little here, little there, little there, so nobody gets too riled up, because you don't want to rile up a mob of people. But if you just like this one guy, that one guy, this one guy, that one guy, and then before you know it, we're all disarmed. You know, but I don't understand. I just don't understand when these people, they look and they say, oh, like, we have all this money, we can, like, we always say, okay, it's going to cost this much, you know, for their plans, and they always say, well, we have so much money in this country, but they kind of like don't go back behind why we have so much money in this country. We have so much money in this country because it's a free market economy where people
Exactly.
people have the incentive to go out and work really, 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 really hard because there's a reward to it. You know, but if you're going to make the same amount of money as your neighbor, and he works some little brainless chicken shit job that doesn't require him to like literally strain his brain, because you know straining your brain is exhausting. Okay, like the kind of like I used to work construction. Okay, I used to do drywall. Okay, that's exhausting. Don't get me wrong, that is exhausting.
Yeah.
But let me tell you something. When I got done rolling up the cords, I mean that shows you how long ago it was. Nobody uses cords anymore, right? When I got done rolling up the cords and then got into my car, and you know rolled down the windows, turned down the AC, and started driving away. That's the last second I thought about that job. I didn't have to think about it again. I could drive, and when I got home, I didn't think about anything. I was able just to totally relax, and it was nice. Now I'm a lawyer, okay. I can't say that, okay. I can't say that when I drive away from that office, I stop thinking about what I'm doing, okay, because you don't, okay. So it stays with you, and it's not an 8 to 5 like when I worked construction. It was like 6 to 2, right? I mean 6 to 2:30, or 5:30 or 5:30 to 2. So I mean a half hour for lunch. So I mean it was a set time. You got to work at 6 a.m. And you worked till 2. And if you worked extra, you got time and a half. And then if you worked lots of goofy stuff, you got double time and all this other shit. But I mean, it was a set time. You knew you were leaving at 2 p.m. Bye, and you knew you weren't starting till 6. Well, that's not. That's not the way it is. Like in my profession, you don't. At 5 o'clock, you say, "Oh, I'm done." No, you're done when you're done. And if something you have to stay later to get something done. You got to stay later to get something done. If you have to get up early, work on it at home, or get home, eat dinner, then like pull the laptop out and start working. So it's a lot of strain on your brain, those kind of jobs. And I'm just thinking, like, if you're telling me that with all the stress I go through, that no matter how hard I work, I'm going to make the same amount of money as some guy who lives across the street from me who, like, I don't know, kills bugs for a living, which okay, doesn't really put a lot of stress on him. He's not stressed out over it. No, I'm not gonna stay up till midnight. I'm not gonna get up at 4 in the morning. I'm not gonna work weekends. I worked today. I met with 2 people today. I have to go into the office tomorrow. So I mean, maybe I won't do all that if I'm gonna make the same amount of money and have the same kind of house and same kind of lifestyle the guy across the street does. Why would I do that? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why when like Warren says, "Oh, we have so much money we can do this," and Sanders, "We have so much money we can do this." Oh, we have so much money because we're a free market economy. But if you raise those tax rates and you make us basically into a socialist country, we're not going to have all that money. American investors will go offshore, will go overseas. Okay, and foreign investment won't come here because any profits they make are going to be taxed so high they're not going to be able to take anything back with them, and then the jobs are going to dry up. And then we're all going to become consumers to China, and that's going to be the end of it. There was a story I was covering here on China. Let's see, where was it?
Yeah. Well, what's really funny in colleges, what they teach is like correct me if I'm wrong, but what they teach is, the crony capitalism, right? Like they teach. It's like, because a lot of what they do is, back when the Great Depression happened, right, it was amazing how we adopted socialist safety nets while keeping a free market. They were very careful not to go into extreme, like full-blown socialism. They took certain aspects of socialism, they did the math, they saw that, these programs can survive on a free market economy, on a free market society, but when you look at what they do is they take the teachings from, like, I think around, like, because they take what caused the Great Depression and they modernize it. They put a modernized spin on it. They and they try to make it all like capitalists. It's evil to be wealthy. It's evil to to have your own thousands of dollars in the bank when somebody's got nothing. And they can't see, again, there's no wisdom on the left. There's no cognitive thinking. There's no wisdom on the left. There's none, it's like I had a response from this one guy who kept going back, like there was like 5 of them going back and forth at me. And this one guy kept coming in and saying like, he seemed to be on my side, but anyway, he was telling me about, how the new tax cuts that Trump wants to propose, right? How's that going to benefit him? And, I could tell he's a socialist. You can tell these people are
Right.
socialists just by their talking points. And I call them out right when they start, bashing me, right? And I told him, I don't remember word for word because I respond to trolls day in and day out on comments, but he was basically, I was basically like, well, it would free up money. People spend money. It would put money into smaller businesses where people can hire people and those people will spend money. He didn't seem to get this, but, he comes at me and he says, well, progressives are the most smartest people in the world. We're so much book smarter than conservatives. And I turned around and told him, but you people lack the wisdom to understand the faults in your own ideology. He didn't respond after that. Now, I don't know if it's because what I said. I'm not going to speculate on that because he just stopped responding after that. But I probably hit something when I told him that. And it's true. They don't see, you ask an 18-year-old or a 20-year-old, right? What are your plans for the future? Blank expression on your face, or they can do like what some of what my goddaughter does. Oh, not right now. I got to see how many likes I have on Facebook on my post. And it makes you want to pound your head against, well, these kids don't even, they've been taught to live for the moment. They've been
Right.
taught to, all their troubles are non-existent, again, see, Gen X, like, like my generation, we're a mix of the old and the new. We have, I remember as a kid walking around with my Game Boy in my hand, our Game Gear,
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if these portable video games were a test by, companies to see how people would react with cell phones. I mean, let's face it, we all walk around with our cell phones in our hands. I do it all the time. I'm not above that. You know what I'm saying? But at least I pay attention to what's going on around me. I see
Right.
what's happening.
Right.
I can live my life, do what I got to do, take care of myself. And on top of that, I have to, on top of the everyday things that conservatives have to do, like raise their families and, provide, roof over their heads, they have to take time out of their day to try and push back against people who either don't care about history, don't want to know history, or have no understanding of history. It's like, do I want to change my status to Republican to join the party? No, I don't. But if I can't do it as an independent, and I tell you what, right now, if even any, especially with this credit score that they're talking about implementing, I mean, I mean, we've always had a credit score system, but, they want to do it based on, how you spend your money and how you vote. And I don't think it's gonna, take that route anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
I can guarantee you any independents, especially moderate Democrats who have voted for conservative candidates or candidates who have a supposed conservative background, I guarantee you they're going to be blacklisted on this social media credit score in some form or another. They're going to get blacklisted.
Right.
You have some people who, like I was saying earlier, the left is targeting conservatives. Some conservatives, big name conservatives, can't even get book an Uber to go somewhere. Pretty
Yeah.
soon, what is it going to be? Conservatives can't get on a bus.
Oh no,
And-
no,
and
they're
it's like
they're making
they're
it like that. Yeah, I mean, if you
Yeah.
wear your Trump hat in the wrong place, you get your ass kicked, or you get thrown out of a restaurant, or somebody,
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Say nobody even does that to you, but you're afraid like somebody's going to spit in your food in the kitchen. I mean, really. I mean, hey, look, I'm a big Trump supporter, obviously. I put a lot of time and money
Yeah.
into doing this site, obviously. But I want to sit
Yeah.
down and have a nice meal in a restaurant without somebody spitting in my food. Okay,
Mhm.
or worse, and then you get home and you get sick or you get diarrhea. I mean, so yeah, I'm not going to go into a restaurant wearing my Trump hat because I don't know who's in the
Yeah.
back cooking, and you probably know it's some leftist or the waitress or the waiter. And they go back there, oh, this guy's a dick, yeah. spit on his food or whatever, And next time I'm eating somebody's spit. I don't want to do that. I mean, shit.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like that old saying too, like how some people, like some people fight, like they're fighting. And when I say fighting, I don't mean fists thrown or anything, but when they donate to Judicial Watch or they donate to the NRA or Gun Owners of America, but they're quiet about it. They might donate
Right.
25, or something like that. They're fighting. They're fighting in the background. I mean, people like us, we've come forward and we're. I mean, obviously I'm not a content creator. I'm just a street smart wise guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, people. I'm probably more hated by trolls than I'd like to be hated by trolls. I mean, I don't know. You never really know how, who reads your posts and things like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like I said, anybody, like, and it's funny because, like, let's say Trump loses re-election, which could happen. It could happen. People need to understand this.
Oh yeah,
happen.
no. If
Yeah.
we fuck up like we did in 2018, okay. If we do in 2020 what we did in 2018, we lose. I mean, I'm sorry, we just lose. We just might as well go home because we're gonna lose. And then if we lose, let me tell you something. The plans these people have for us are the most horrendous. I've never seen such. See, here's the problem. Like, okay, normally like an election, right? I mean, just think the last 30, 40 years. Normally, every election we've seen, you generally run like regarding the economy for domestic issues, and generally you run on issues like wars, whether it's a good war or a bad war. We need to go to war. We need to get out of a war. Something like that. Well, the economy's doing gangbusters. Okay, even the Fed guy who hates Trump, the chairman of the Fed, what's his name? Powell, I think it is. He hates Trump. And all this talk about recession, he's like, no, man, we have no economic indicators to show that. He goes, we may drop it down a quarter or a point, but they're not even he's not even thinking about doing a half a point percentage to drop down the prime rate, the interest rates. He's like, no, we don't. There's no reason for that. Right now, wages are outpacing inflation, but inflation's not going up with the increase in wages. Unemployment is still holding at, I think, 3.7%, which is still at a 49-year high, 50-year high, I think now. Black unemployment, the new numbers came out on that, was 5.5%, just broke another record because it keeps going down. So all the economic indicators are showing that there's no recession. I mean, the guy at the Fed would love to say, yeah, there's a recession coming because he hates Trump. But he says there's nothing to show it. It's not there. This is all made-up crap. So anyway, so they can't run on the economy. Now, on the foreign policy issue, Trump's trying to get us out of places. Okay, well, you really can't run on that. Like what are they going to say? We shouldn't bring the troops home? Well, you really can't run on that. Like we've been in Afghanistan now for 18 years this October. It'll be 18 years this October. We've been there. I mean, well, even if we get now, he was negotiating with the Taliban, and they were supposed to have a secret meeting at Camp David. The president of Afghanistan and the leaders from the Taliban were supposed to all meet at Camp David. Well, Trump called it off, though, because these assholes decided to go ahead and do a car bombing, and it killed a U.S. serviceman and a couple of NATO guys. So he's like, well, if you were trying to get some leverage on negotiating with me, you just blew that deal. So fuck you. I ain't meeting with you. So, like, how long do you want to keep fighting? Basically, he's telling them, like, hey, look, I want to pull this out, but everybody else was trying to keep me, make me keep my guys there. And if you want to give me an excuse to keep them there, because everybody says keep them there, I will. So, I mean, but you really can't run on them on that. And then, like, North Korea, even with their missile tests here and there, we're not shooting at each other. There's peace breaking out. The guys over there, every time they meet, it seems like they smile, they get along, they goof off. And again, like I said, I don't care if they don't make any deals. As long as these two guys can, like, eventually get to the point where they can get on a phone and just bullshit with each other, I'm happy. I'm happy if they're just if you're there's an old saying in law that if you're in a jury trial, like in a criminal case, they always say a laughing jury is not a hanging jury. Well, when two guys are laughing and goofing off with each other, like say him and Kim, well, they're not killing each other. And like that thing I just put about the Ukraine, about the Russians agreed to do a prisoner swap with the Ukrainians. Well, why do you think that was?
Yeah.
Well, look at the timing of that. Why did that happen now? Well, didn't Trump just talk about wanting to bring Putin into the G7 and make it the G8 again. Wasn't he just talking about that?
Yeah.
Like, and he was over there goofing off with Putin and smiling and joking and stuff. You know, and then suddenly the EU's been begging. Ukraine's been begging this for a year, 2 years now. You know, they get those sailors back from the one incident a year ago, and then other troops from before then. You know, and then Trump's over there goofing off with Putin, and next thing you know, Putin's saying, "Oh, well, here we go. Let's do a prisoner swap." So I mean, so you can't run against them on the economy. You can't run against them on foreign interventional wars. So you got to find something new. So they come up with this climate change and like CNN climate crisis. But you know, it's like those people. Remember? Well, you don't remember. Neither do I. wasn't alive. But like back in the, I read about it. Back in the 1800s, people were predicting the end of the world. So we looked at the Bible, we studied the numbers, and the world's going to end like 1879 at 4 p.m. on Thursday, September 15th. And then all these people will be gathered out in this big fields and stuff, and they're all praying, and they're waiting for God to come down, you know, on the white horse with the sword, and, you know, the book of Revelations, and here it is. And then all of a sudden it didn't happen. So they go, oh, shit, you know what it is? We forgot to carry the one and, you know, subtract 6. So actually now it's going to be 3 years from now. So give us some more money. And then 3 years, like they were talking about it on Tucker the other night, like there was a prediction in 1999 that by right now, 2019, Bangladesh and a bunch of other low-lying countries would literally be underwater right now. They said that 20 years ago. Okay, Al Gore, 2006. In 10 years, it's all over. In 10 years, by 2016. Well, 2016 came and went, and nothing happened. And then last year, 12 years from now, oh, okay, what? It's always going to be like 12 years from now. Okay, 12 years from now, and then 12 years from now is going to come and go. Nothing's going to happen, and then what? So they got to run on this climate change. I don't think half these people believe this shit. The people that are running, they just know it. But it's the only issue they got. What else do they have? They have nothing. Trump's a bad guy. Okay, that only gets you so far. Trump's a lunatic. Well, that's not going to get you very far. Okay, this climate change, healthcare. They already blew their wad on healthcare in 2018. So you got to come up with something new. So then they come up with this nonsense, and like, but if these people get elected and they actually start enacting this shit because there are people who are going to want them to if they vote for them, my God, these things are insane. I mean, there's some crazy stuff. I mean, there's some really crazy stuff, and Medicare for all. That's totally insane. That's like $3.5 trillion per year, and then look who's running it. Again, back to the same civil servants. You can't fire them. They sit in these fucking cubicles. They're idiots. And you know, and they're going to be running. They're the people in charge of deciding how much care you get, when you don't get it, and when you call for customer service, you get one of these morons on the phone. There's no accountability because they can't get fired. Not like a private health insurance company where they say you suck, you're fired, get lost. You know, I mean, it's going to be another disaster. Now we're talking about getting rid of straws and not eating red meat, and they're going to start taxing like cheeseburgers and food and whatever. I mean. So, I mean, if we don't get out and vote in 2020, that's what we got coming. They'll take the House, the Senate, and the White House. Then what are we going to do? Nothing. Nothing. And they'll do the nuclear.
If you have 2 cars, I mean, your bank accounts, I mean, they will freeze your money. They will take what money you have, you know. And you know what's even funnier, Carl? Like, you know, and you know, again, these, you know, it isn't, you know, I mean, they're going to start, they will pass laws, they will do away with personal, like you were saying, they're going to do away with, you know, the right of personal ownership. They won't even, you know what, they won't even freeze your bank accounts. What they'll do is they'll pass something worse than Obamacare and raise your premiums, you know, based on what your hourly or what your yearly income is. You know,
no. They'll just take it out of your check. It'll be like another withholding. They won't wait for you to pay your taxes. It'll be like you have a Medicare deduction. Well, in fact, the system's already in place. They don't have to do anything. Like on your payroll, you have a Medicare deduction. You have FICA, you have Social Security, and Medicare. It's already one of the 3 deductions. I know because I do payroll. And so the system's there. All they got to do is, like, instead of like Medicare right now is like the smallest number, like it's like only a couple bucks a week, a few bucks a week. But, you know, they can easily all they got to do is like punch in a different number. So instead of like $5 a week for your Medicare deduction off your paycheck, it'll be, you know, $75 a week or $100 a week. I mean, it's right there. The system's in place. They don't have to do anything. It's already there. They don't. All they got to do is just change the math. Instead of being like 0.1% or whatever the hell the number is, it'll be like, you know, 18% or 22% or whatever it'll be. I was on. I was
You
on.
know what?
I was on. I think I was on. I was on Information Man show's channel, and he had this guy on from Canada, and they were talking about their healthcare system there, and basically he says, well, it's free, but it's really not free because when you look at all the different taxes we pay, as far as regional taxes and this tax and all that tax, he goes, it actually comes out to about 50% of your paycheck. So about one half of your paycheck is not yours. So you really don't. He says the healthcare really isn't free because it comes out of your paycheck. 50%. I mean, and there you are. And then, first of all, see, Canada doesn't have to have a huge air force, a huge navy, a huge army because they have us, right? But say we don't have the money to have the huge navy, the huge army, the huge air force, the nuclear stockpile, the nuclear umbrella to protect. We don't have the money to upkeep all this stuff because we have no money because foreign investment left and the taxes are too high. Well, what are these other countries going to do if we can't protect it? We can't protect the sea lanes. What are they going to do? They're going to be subject to extortion by China, who's I have on the screen right now. China's going to say, well, we don't have to listen to the United States anymore. They don't have that kind of muscle anymore. They can't tell us what to do, and they can't protect your sea lanes. They can't keep the skies open. So these other countries are going to have to start building up their own militaries, and then all those social welfare programs they have are going to have to go out the toilet because they're going to have to get some money from somewhere, and then we'll be sitting here floundering until somebody, if they take over, they'll fuck everything up. It's going to take 20 years to if we get lucky enough, somebody else gets in there, take another 20 years to unfuck everything up they're about to do. Because some of these plans are crazy, and then like open borders. Not if once you make an executive order, you say we're not. You don't have to even do an executive order because remember it's discretionary for the feds to enforce laws like the marijuana laws, right? They could walk into every state-sanctioned run medical marijuana dispensary or marijuana dispensary or grow facility. The feds could walk in there right now, get an arrest warrant, search warrant, seize all the plants, seize all the money, arrest everybody. You're talking that's like high-level trafficking federal charges. That's 25 years. Arrest everybody. But the feds say they use their discretion. We're not going to enforce that law. So they don't have to even do an executive order. They can just say the executive can just tell ICE and Customs Border Patrol. They don't have to get rid of them. That's too hard. Just say, okay, don't stop anybody. That's it. I mean, that's it. And then once the word gets out, it's like 240 million, according to Gallup, 240 million people in South America and Central America that when they did a poll, they asked them, if you could come to the United States without worrying about being illegal or legal or whatever, if you could just walk across that border, would you go? And like based on the polling, it was like 240 million people would come here right now from South America and Central America. 240 million people would just show up on our doorstep and walk across. We can't take in that. We can't absorb that kind of those kind of numbers. We can't. There's no way. That's like another 75% increase in our population. There's no way. There's no way. We don't have the facilities for it. We don't have the space. We don't have the money. We don't have the education. We don't have the schools, the hospitals, the social service. We have nothing. You couldn't absorb that. They just all showed up within like a year. Say it was spread out over like 5 years even. You couldn't absorb that.
Yeah.
The country goes to shit.
Well, the whole agenda, that these globalists had, right, was I have to say it like this, Carl, because there's no other way for me to say it, but they want to push white people out, and they wanted to make room for those that are more willing to have big government, which are people from third world countries. I mean, the education systems in these third world countries are, middle school. They don't, unless some of them are fortunate enough to get into a good school or have a teacher that's willing to work with them a little bit more. Most of the time, all they really know is, the government taking care of them and providing for them, and they're used to that, and that's what people, when you import the third world, you eventually become the third world.
No. I mean, you can look. Okay, you can look at pick a city. You can look Las Vegas. Okay, there are parts of Las Vegas, like say, you don't know these streets, but like say Valley View, near Charleston. Okay, those are really nice neighborhoods. And the problem is a lot of people from the third world moved in there. Well, now you got to remember something. These people, when they move up here, they probably feel uncomfortable with the setting, right? Because they're not used to the setting. So what they do is it's like they're like aliens. Hence the word aliens. They come to another planet and they gotta not terraform it, but like alien form it. They got to make it look like where they came from, so they feel more comfortable. So eventually, they make it look like, if you come from Mexico, you eventually make it look like the village you came from Mexico, and it looks like that, or Honduras, or Guatemala, or whatever. And so eventually, they end up looking like shit because that's what they look like down there, and that's why they left, which is so ironic. They left there because it looked like shit, because it was shit. Then they come here, and then they turn it into what it looked like where they came from, not realizing, wait a second, we just why did we do that? And nobody has an answer, but they do it anyway. So yeah, that's the problem. And then the same thing as far as, do they believe in big government? Why would you, if you believe in big government, just stay where you're at. If you believe in a corrupt, socialist, top-down type of style of government, then stay where you are. Okay, we don't have that here. We're a free market economy. We try doing our damnedest to keep it a limited government as best we can, albeit it gets harder and harder every day. But if you don't like the system you're coming to, then don't come here. Yeah, there's wealth here because we have a free market economy. We don't have oligarchy like they have in Mexico or a bunch of corruption like they have in Central America. I feel sorry for that guy in El Salvador. He ran on an anti-corruption campaign. He's gonna unless we can help this guy out really fast, this guy's gonna end up either playing ball or getting killed. Because there's a lot of money, a lot of powers that be down there, the cartel and everything else. So I mean, Pompeo met with the guy after he said that nice tweet to Trump, but they better give this guy some help because he's fighting a real uphill battle down there. The cartels run El Salvador. It's MS-13. That's where MS-13 came from. Was El Salvador. That's where they come from. That's their base of operations.
Well, the cartels, I think anymore, I mean, the cartels of nowadays, it may not have been like this before, but the cartels are just kind of an extension of the globalist arm, in my opinion, because I don't think the globalists had much to deal with the I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think the globalists dealt with the cartels as much as they do now, because they need those cartels to run people across the border.
Yeah. The cartels are happy because they get. No, it's an argument, and I'm glad you bring that up because it's a point a lot of leftists kind of try to ignore. But all the money they send down there to give these people to pay the coyotes to come across that border, that border is controlled by the cartels. Nobody works there. There's not like some independent coyote going, "Hey, I'm my own man. I make my own money." No, if you work there, you either work directly for the cartels or you're paying them a huge freaking percentage of your money, and if you don't, they're going to chop your legs off with a chainsaw. And that's just how it works. So all these people, these leftist organizations send money down south to give money to people to pay these coyotes. They're paying the drug cartels. It's like what you're giving money to the worst drug dealers in the world to come over here, and we got 50,000 people a year, 100,000 people a year dying from opioid abuse, overdoses, and you're paying these people to do it. And why? But again, I agree with you. Then to a certain extent, they just want to kind of tear this down, tear down European values, European culture, tear down America, which is basically an extension of Europe, and tear it all down and say, okay, let's start over with a whole bunch of new people and see how it works out. Well, you can see how it works out. Okay, go to South America, go to Africa, go to Southeast Asia. You can see how it works out. It works out like shit. I mean, Ghana, they've had their independence for over 60 years. They still can't get their act together. South Africa is going to the toilet really quick. Zimbabwe, that used to be the food, that was known as the food basket of, when it was Rhodesia, it was known as what's it called, the food basket of Africa. Now they're the largest importer of foreign aid food in the world. Okay, it's just like, look, Europeans are really good at this whole civilization thing. Just follow our lead. Look, if you're going to start it, you want your independence from Europe, fine, but adopt the standards Europeans set in place, and you'll be just fine. Because again, we've been doing the civilization thing for like 10,000 years. We got to figure it out. Okay, you don't have to try to reinvent the wheel. Yeah. Just follow what we do, and it'll work. And you'll make a lot of money, and you'll be really happy. But if you go down to like this whole socialist thing and and you go down to every man for themselves, and you don't try to work together with each other, and it's like, you live in hand to mouth, your country's going to turn to shit, and you're going to end up with a bunch of brownouts and blackouts and no electricity and no water and no food and no organization, nothing. You just pretty much getting you're getting your food that morning to eat that day, and then going back out in the morning you get it again. I mean, but then they want to come here and turn this place into shit. Oh, you guys got so much money. Yeah, because we don't live the way you guys live, and we have a different economy, and we're a free market, and we're independent. We believe in agency and accountability. And we believe in working together and getting things done. Okay? That's what we do. And we've only been around a couple hundred years, but somehow we do it. And then you want to come over here and fuck that up.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Carl, here's something I know nobody's ever mentioned. Nobody, right? Now, I'm not saying I wanted them to do this, but I'll never understand why they never did what I'm about to say, right? Why is it, these globalists were so much hatred for our country. Why didn't they crash our economy in 1999 when the computers weren't even flipping over to 2000? You know what I'm saying? I mean, for some reason, it's like for whatever reason, they didn't want that to happen, because they could have, they were, even then, even 27 years ago, 30 years ago, they were in positions of power to where they could have made this happen. They could have just, the computer, because that was, the Y2K was a real threat. I mean, I remember my computer not going over to 2000. It was going back to 1900. And that would have screwed up so many billing systems, but yet they didn't do that. So, it's like, I'm not saying I wanted them to, but you would have thought that if they had a really, really focused plan on ruining our country, they would have done it then, I mean, think about it. That would have been the only time that they really could have done it. See, now their new world order's in jeopardy, and it's like the mentality now is either we get our way or nobody gets anything, and that's because that's kind of what is happening right now. Like, they want to push a civil war. I'm just saying, they want to push strife. They want, look at that guy in, what was it? The guy that stood out in front of Oregon, threatening the Antifa, right? I mean, now I'll be honest. Okay, the guy had a history of mental illness. Well, I don't know mental illness, but he was bipolar.
Oh no, yeah, no, right? No, I covered that story, and in fact, I think I was talking to American. I think it was one of the stories I was talking to American Joe about. And we were talking about like taking a case up to like the Supreme Court, like the red flag laws. And what I said was, it may sound stupid, but like a case like that is not one you want to take up, because the case you want to take up is you want to make sure you have a really good plaintiff, someone who's not like nuts, right? Like the Heller case. That guy Heller was a really good plaintiff. Roe versus Wade. They were waiting for years for Roe to come along. Okay, there were plenty of plaintiffs they could have taken up, but they wanted that perfect plaintiff to take up so there wouldn't be any distractions, and the court wouldn't say, oh well, yeah, like the red flag law. Like, say you take it up with this guy in Oregon, the guy who had a CCW stapled to his shoulders, he had a big knife, he had a bullhorn, and I don't know what else he had. He had some other stupid shit. And so, okay, and even he admitted he was kind of nuts, and plus, you can tell he was nuts. I'll tell you why. Because when they took him to the VA hospital, like for the psych hold, normally it's a 72-hour hold, and normally they kick you out before the 72 hours. They're trying to kick everybody out, right? They don't have the money, the room, the beds, whatever. So generally people just will spend overnight, maybe 24 hours at most, and then they kick him the fuck out. Say, oh, you're fine, you're sane, get lost. Well, they kept this guy for 20 days, okay? So there must have been something going on with him. So, so you want to say, look, these red flag laws are unconstitutional, they do harm to regular people, and then you bring this idiot, up, and they say, well, no, but he's not a regular person. He's kind of nuts. No, and I told Joe, I said, here's the sad part is it's going to have to be like a normal person like you or I, and it has to be not just a temporary, where they take your guns temporarily, but like where they take them temporarily. I go to court, I bring a psychiatrist, I pay for everything, and I prove I'm not crazy, but yet they say, no, we're going to keep your guns anyway. And then someone like me, a really good plaintiff, and then you take that one up through the appeals court and then up to the Supreme Court, and you want that really good plaintiff. But yeah, that would be a bad case to take up because, well, even he said, I have training and they knew that, and and I shouldn't have. Yeah, I looked unhinged and I probably was. So you got to check yourself a little bit. It's easy to get emotional. I understand on these issues, but we're not. Look, we're on the right. We're not supposed to lead with our emotions. Okay, we're the conservatives. Okay, that's the leftists. The left lead with their. Remember, feelings are more important than facts. That kind of shit. David Harris is out there. They say, "Oh, my feelings are." Well, no, facts are more important. No, the woman is yelling at Harris, saying, "No, my feelings are more important than the facts." And Harris just looks at her like, "God, you really are fucked up." It's like, no, of course they're not. So, but the guy up in Oregon, though. I mean, look, I disagree with the red flag laws because it shifts the burden. You have to prove you're not crazy, and most people can't afford to hire and at your own expense. Most people can't. I was talking about this on one show about a month or so ago. Like I've had to hire expert witnesses like psychiatrists on cases. To do independent medical exams and then have them testify in court. You're talking minimum $2,500, $5,000, $7,500 if you to get them to court. And then this happens really quick, so you have to find a psychiatrist to do a full examination on you. It can't be chicken shit. It's got to be a full blown one, not an LCSW, not a psychologist, a psychiatrist. He got to do a full blown exam on you. Probably maybe who knows? Might even have to do a CAT scan on your brain. Who knows? And then he's got to write a report, and then he might even have to show up in court and testify. That's expensive. Most people can't afford that. They don't just have $5,000 laying around just to do this, and so they end up losing. But you got to find the sane person this happens to, and for some reason there doesn't appear to be any sane people yet that they permanently taken their guns away from. Because if there was, we would have heard about this guy by now. So we got to find that perfect plaintiff.
Yeah.
But it's got to be perfect because if you go up to the Supreme Court and you lose, you set precedent, and that law is there forever. So it's got to be someone you can take up that you can win on, where they say, these red flag laws are a violation of due process, Fourth Amendment, Fifth Amendment for sure, possibly the Sixth Amendment because they may not. It's a civil matter, so they probably don't have to appoint counsel for you, so you don't even get an attorney. So possibly even the Sixth Amendment as well. So, and then you got this perfect guy, clean, like I was telling American Joe, like that bakery guy with the gay wedding cake. Okay, that was a perfect plaintiff. Okay, that guy was clean. He didn't have a bunch of homophobic rants on Facebook that he posted before. He was a clean guy. All they had to do was focus on the issue. That was a good case. That was a good case.
Yeah. Didn't he? Well, there was a few of them, but see, to me, that was targeted harassment by left-wing activist groups funded by none other than Soros. Now maybe the first one wasn't. I don't know, but I know that the other ones, if I were a gambling man, I'd say Soros paid those people to go in and harass. And it's like, again, like what I said before. Like if it was me, I understand, don't get me wrong. I mean, people have a right to refuse service to people if they choose. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I would have just gone to buy somewhere else to get a cake, But if I was a business owner, I would bake the cake because, I mean, again, I'm not telling people what they would do. I'm just saying what I would do, right?
Right.
I would try to help them because my religion doesn't pay the bills. My business does,
Right.
And I understand. I respect it. But, I believe in God. I don't align, with the religious right. Like I said, I'm an independent, but I'm very conservative on many, many things. But anyway, I would have just, baked the cake, try to please them as best I could, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, Carl, I have to say, I don't know why the cake baker put himself in the position to begin with. I understand that it was against his religion. He didn't want to do it, but, you would have thought. I mean, I don't know.
No. That wasn't my point. My point was that he was a perfect plaintiff. That he was totally clean. Yeah. Now, I'll be honest with you. Do I agree with him not doing that?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what religion that was that says he can't make a cake. He wasn't endorsing gay marriage. He wasn't like, somebody was paying him. Somebody had to come out of pocket to give him money. So if anything, he was like taking money away from their gay wedding. I don't know. Maybe he could have just charged him more. I don't, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what to tell you on that one. But that wasn't the point. The point was the guy was a good plaintiff. I personally disagree. I think the guy should just make the cake. I mean, come on. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that'd be like me.
Well,
Some
I
gay.
mean, yeah.
That'd be like some gay guy walks into my office and wants to hire me, and I'm like, well, why, you're gay? Oh, I don't know about that. It's like, are you insane? What do I care? I don't care. I'm not endorsing anybody's lifestyle. I'm not doing that. I mean, I'm providing a service. Somebody's paying me to help them out.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. I'm going to help you out. I don't care. I help out.
Exactly.
You come to my office and you're nice. You're not like some asshole. Yeah, I'll help you out. A lot of times I'll help you out for free.
Yeah.
I mean, shit,
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know what's going on with that
that's
guy.
what-
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah. And see, Carl, that's what, like, and I know I've said this before, and people can agree to disagree with me, but, it's like when, like, let's say for Roy, let's say if there was I'm going to say this right now, like, Roy Moore, I do not care for people like Roy Moore, okay? I mean, I understand, Roy Moore, but, when he makes comments like, well, people are going to hell for their lifestyle. See, I don't like those kind of comments. I don't, because it's
Right.
like, let's say you have a city official like Roy Moore in office, right? And let's say he passes legislation. Well, people can't marry who they want to marry. You can't marry your partner, right? And I would ask that judge. I'd go, hey, look, aren't you infringing on their right to be happy? Because the Constitution clearly says the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? Him
Right.
marrying his partner is not going to hurt me. In fact, if anything, it's going to put some people to work. You're going to, if they want to have a lavish wedding, let them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let them hire a photographer. Let them, that's what this is what we're about, right? People being happy. So it's like he's denying their rights to be happy. You know what I'm saying? It's a legitimate leftist argument that has fact behind it. Now, that is just one of a few that have facts behind it. I'm trying to think of another one. Let me see. Tim Pool is really good on this. I mean, Tim Pool knows how to argue left-wing talking points, but they're usually from a right-wing perspective. But again, Tim Pool is not as crazy as some of these other, radical Bernie Sanders, Bernie Bros, Bernie Sisters types,
Right.
But I'm sorry, it's late. That's the only really. But there are a few left-wing arguments that do have some facts behind them. Like, here's one, right? Like for the soccer team, like the women's soccer team. Like let's say if there's a gap in pay, right? Okay, well, this is what I would do if I was them, right? If I would look into the situation, and I would take it up with the people who sign my paychecks, right? I would present, look, this is what I feel, and if not, I would file a grievance with the sports. Like I don't know if soccer has a similar.
Well,
thing
no,
like
no,
the
well,
NFL
no.
does.
Look, here's the deal. Look, if the big issue was the World Cup money, okay, because that's and there was like two different types of like money being paid, like games played per year. But the women had like a base salary that no matter what little attendance they got, they still got paid a base salary. The men didn't have that. The men had to bring in the crowds, period. So, I mean, the issue wasn't just like, oh, they make more money. Well, yeah, they make more money because more people follow the men's World Cup than the women's World Cup. I mean, I could care less. And most of the stadiums during the year for women's soccer are not full. They're just not, okay? So, I mean, but look, if they're bringing as much money in as the men are, then they should get paid the same, whatever. But if they're not bringing the same amount of money in, well, they shouldn't get paid the same. I mean, it's a real simple math issue. I mean, it's just you take a look at, okay, you take side by side, here's a dude, here's a girl. Okay, this year he made $125,000, and this year she made $50,000. But he brought in, he brought in $2.5 million for the sport for the owner. She only brought in $1 million. Well, it sounds fair to me. There you go. But
Yeah.
but all the
Well,
shit they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's and it's all based on performance and a free market economy. I mean, if you have a service that people pay, you get paid based on how well you provide that service.
Right.
I mean, like some of the highest paid I mean, I don't follow sports, but if you have a like someone like Kobe Bryant, somebody they want to sign Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's in a position where he can negotiate a reasonable salary. Or Michael Jordan. I mean, a lot of these guys just make money off royalties. With their name attached to product. Which is fine. We have a free market economy, and kudos to them. Nobody's holding them back or suppressing them. They're making their millions. Nobody's seizing it.
Right.
I mean, but I don't know if you ever saw that interview with Floyd Mayweather that he did. I don't know if it wasn't the Breakfast Club. It was. But you just look at these people's faces because, Floyd Mayweather was talking about, taxes. How does it affect you? Because he wasn't necessarily defending Trump, but he wasn't bashing him either. And one of the things that Floyd Mayweather said, right, was Trump did his homework and got to the White House. That's what he did. He did his homework. But anyway, there was a statement that Floyd Mayweather said that I make millions and millions of dollars. If you ain't making tons of money, it ain't affecting you. And he's right. I mean, because the rich are paying more in taxes than you would think.
They pay a lot of money.
Mean, some of them, they take. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these. I mean, and this is where it makes you want to pound your head against the wall when you talk to a progressive. I don't even know if you can say liberals and progressive. I don't know. They see. Progressives, liberals, to me, they're different, but I digress, as ABL says,
Right.
They think that if we take away all the money from the wealthy people, like this one guy, he said, well, if you make policies targeting globalists, they won't have the money to, influence politics. And I'm like, are you this stupid? Are you this dumb, idiotic, I don't want to say I have to say it, Carl, retarded. I'm sorry, forgive me. I'm not. I know it's I know it, but
that's okay. Harris, Kamala Harris has got in trouble for that today because some guy said that about Trump, and she initially laughed, and then somebody told her, "Oh man, you can't laugh at that," and then she came back and scolded the person in the audience. "Oh, you shouldn't have said that word. That's degrading." But she laughed initially. She thought it was funny. But yeah. But I tell you what, man. Hold on. I've been on for a little over 2 hours. So I'm going to wrap it up for the evening. It's about 12:20.
Okay.
No. Stay on the phone. It's about 12:20 my time. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up the. Let me get on the right screen here. There I am. I'm going to wrap up the live stream for tonight. I just want to thank everybody who's been in the chat. I want to thank the great Dirtbag for the great, wonderful phone call as usual. Interesting conversation as always. And everybody's been in the chat. Everybody's been watching us. Everybody who'll be watching us later. So for Carl's opinion, this is Carl. Thanks so much, and have a great day. And Mr. Dirtbag, you want to say something?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I just want to say good night, everybody. Good night. Keep sharing videos, and just keep trying to help get the truth out. That's all we can do, and we have to. This is not a fight that's going to be won in 1 or 2 years. This is probably going to last our lifetimes. I mean, I think things are looking up, but we can't let our guard down. I mean, I think there's hope. I still think there's hope. We have to push forward, and we have to just keep educating people. And try to be respectful of their opinions. Try to be. Even if you don't agree, just try to be respectful, listen to what they say, and you never know. Maybe they'll open your eyes to something that you never thought possible. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's happened to me. It has,
Yeah.
But again, the key words are facts. They got to have the facts to back it up,
Totally agree. All right, guys. Hey, thanks everybody. Have a great night. Mr. Dirtbag, stay with me. Don't go nowhere. All right, guys. Have a great night. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.